you said like the mic was off, like maybe not mic off, but the sync was off? It looked a little bit off there when I was watching it.
I don't know. It's up now. We'll see. If you guys are watching, hit over here in this chat. Let us know Jim. If you're watching right now, what do you mean your Mac is off?
Anyway, we are underway and the kickoff is through. Touchback, and it looks like the Ravens will be on offense first, so we'll get to see Lamar Jackson, the two-time 1,000-yard rushing quarterback, taking the field right away for the Ravens. And Kelcey, I think the big key for the
And I think a big key here for the Ravens is, can Lamar Jackson get going like we saw him do last week? I mean, he had almost 140 rushing yards, back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. It's up to the Bills to try and keep him contained.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about the Bills before. If you guys heard the pregame, and then it's you gotta definitely make sure you make contact with Lamar and you bring him down in the first opportunity. That's definitely the Bills' defense. You cannot let him get away with anything. As we see what Gus Edwards rattle off first down right here. Also, spy with player in the box. That's a big deal. And then takeaways. If you're the Bills' defense, you cannot miss your opportunity to take this ball away from Lamar.
And as you just mentioned, they get that running game started right away. Gus Edwards, you see the nice little wham block here from the fullback / tight end, since they've had some injuries at tight end. Picard, cut back from Gus Edwards. And an interesting thing to keep an eye on is Mark Ingram, healthy scratch today, went from starting the season to now not even being on the field without an injury. So right now we got first down and 10 from about the 35-yard line. Not even a full minute into the game. Picard comes in motion. Lamar Jackson hands it off. And we got Gus Edwards again. Breaks a tackle, gets loose, spin move. He's still going with an 11-yard gain. 2 carries for Gus Edwards and about 20 yards. They're rolling early.
Yeah, you look at Gus Edwards and you talk about Mark Ingram, man. That was something Mark Ingram we don't see from him. So Gus Edwards provides that extra little aspect that, J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram, they can do, but not fantastically. So you sit here and look at this, and Gus Edwards, man, he's been a wonderkind for him.
And once again, first down for the Ravens. Haven't even seen a second down yet. And you saw the block on that play. A lot of movement from these offensive linemen. Lamar Jackson takes a snap, hands it off again. This time it's J.K. Dobbins. Huge hole right up the gut. Easy 11 yards before he's even contacted. And yet another first down. The Bills haven't been that great at stopping the run this year, as you mentioned. And the Ravens, the top rushing team in the league by a few hundred yards, too. And they're proving it against today.
Exactly. And, this is the Ravens' keys to the game for the offense. Run the ball. Average 3 yards per carry at least. You'll win the game. It's very simple. On top of that, prevent Ed Oliver from causing any issues for Lamar. If you can control him, you control this team. Also, when you do take a shot, do not miss a big play over the top.
And right on cue, a play underneath. Trey White coming into the backfield, known as a lockdown edge corner. He came crashing down. Nobody on his side, so third down and 2. J.K. Dobbins, the first time they're actually not gaining a first down or 9 yards of carry. They led the league in rushing yards by more than 300 yards and had a 23 yards per game lead. And the Bills, as we mentioned, they weren't that great against the run, 17th against the run this season. They don't have the biggest front. They kind of rely more on speed, which is kind of what you want going against this Ravens team. But when they get going downhill with J.K. Dobbins, who, as he says, brings his big boy britches when he runs, Gus Edwards, they have a real strong chance to get this going. Right now, Mark Andrews split wide. Lamar Jackson fakes the handoff, cuts it up the gut. Nice hole, first down, Ravens. Deep into Bills territory now at the 40-yard line. With Justin Tucker, they're practically already in scoring range, and they haven't even thrown a pass yet.
Yeah, you mentioned Justin Tucker, man. You got to be honest. Anything is on the field.
As long as you're within the same zip code, I think you have a chance with him. And this is an interesting one, is they fake the handoff left, and the offensive lineman pull right, giving Lamar Jackson an alley right up the gut. Orlando Brown Jr., Bozeman going to the right, Lamar up the gut, and then J.K. Dobbins to the left. That's a whole lot of misdirection and a whole lot of power coming downhill, too. Now, first and 10, once again, from the Bills' 40. Lamar fakes the handoff, gets a few blocks. Oh, solid seal out there. He gets out wide, takes out of bounds. A little bit of shove there from Micah Hyde, not letting him walk out easily. Saw a gain of 7 yards, and you saw on that one. You get the running backs going, they start crashing. 3 people jumped on J.K. Dobbins immediately as we look at the replay. Coming out of the pistol set, weak eye formation. And the big thing here was setting the edge. Troy Murphy gets through, destroys J.K. Dobbins, but J.K. doesn't have the ball.
Yeah, discipline, man. Discipline is a big part of this game. I did not put it in their keys because I figured at this point, you got to figure it out. You have to know. You've played the Ravens before. You know this is their game. It's all misdirection. So, you got to sit here and look at this, and you got to be like, man, I can't let Lamar beat me, but at the same time watch JK. It's a difficult thing, but we'll see if the Bills can figure it out here soon.
And right there, a little bit of difficulty with the play clock. So the Ravens will call timeout. Lamar is visibly frustrated. Maybe he expected the play clock to reset, but this is kind of good for the Bills. It gives you a second to take a breath, relax, kind of gather your wits about you, because the Ravens came out here swinging. They weren't coming in to methodically move down the field. They were marching down the field. And they're one of the few teams they're a team that can run the ball, kill the clock while being explosive. They are an explosive run team. A lot of these top-tier offenses, the Bills we're talking about, the Chiefs, the Packers, they air it all over the place. The Ravens, they can throw it, but clearly it starts on the ground, as we've seen and as anyone who watches them knows. And so far, the Bills, their defense, the struggles have been pretty noticeable this year. I mean, they were only 14th in defense, considering we kind of expect them to be higher. And right now, they're kind of getting exposed on the ground. They're getting pushed around a little bit by this Ravens offensive line and tight ends. And then right now, 2nd and 3, Lamar hands it off, fakes the handoff, throws it to Willie Snead. Trey White, strong coming down to tackle him for a mere gain of 2. And this is kind of what we've seen about from the Ravens passing game this year that we haven't been too high on, is when they do throw, you don't see as many of the big plays set up off the run.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my mic issues. We're sitting here chatting in the chat box and making sure my echo goes away. You're giving us a look at this defense, and we talked about this before the game off air. We're expecting them to come out in this nickel type of defense because they're going to roll Jordan Poyer in the box. We haven't seen him yet make a play on any of these run games, but you just mentioned Trey White dropping in the box because he doesn't have to worry about anything over the top, really.
And right now, Ravens 3rd and 2 from about the 32-yard line. And this time they do hand it off. Gus Edwards bangs in there, and I don't think he got it. It looks like the Bills made the stand here. Jordan Poyer in there holding the fist up. He's got the stop immediately. And we saw guys in there, Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, that the whole D-line crashed down low while the edge guys kept contained. So Lamar couldn't keep it. So if you're the Ravens, do you consider going for this 4th and 1? You're in clear Justin Tucker field goal range.
Look, if I had a guy like Justin Tucker on my team, I think every time I got in a 4th down anywhere on the field, I'd consider kicking a field goal. I will say this ad nauseum. But I don't blame them if they're coming out here and going for this. And it looks like actually they are.
And you see the Bills, everybody's coming out. Micah Hyde's in the box. They are all in Devin Duvernay in motion. Lamar's going to keep. And he did not get that. There's a pet flag on the field, so it might be on the Ravens for an illegal motion. But if the play stands, the Bills defense bending a little bit. But when it came time to show up, they did not break.
It honestly looked like Chris Klein out here on the edge. It looks like he was lined up over the neutral zone. I think they might get him on this because he was.
Yep, offsides. That's a crucial mistake. We saw it go in the Bills' favor last week when they had a 4th down, a guy jump off sides. This time, Klein, you got to stay on sides, especially when the rest of your team made an outstanding play right up the gut too. Yep, you see it right here in the replay. I don't know why you're lining up off sides. Like, you're just let the big guys in the middle line up on the ball. You line up 1 millisecond behind them. So Ravens with an easy 1st down, nearly in the red zone now too, and they've thrown 1 pass for 2 yards. They've run right down the field on this Bills defense.
Definitely. This is exactly what the key is for this Ravens team. Be who you are. Don't try to play it any way else. And honestly, they probably could have gotten a defensive lineman on lining up down over the center too, but it kills me those type of plays.
1st and 10, Marquise Brown goes in motion, fakes the handoff to Dobbins. Lamar under pressure. Levi Wallace brings him down. Lamar starts to retreat, and now they're back kind of right where they were a few plays ago at about the 40-yard line. 8-yard loss, it looks like, and sending defensive backs after Lamar might be the key to contain him because he's going to outrun literally everybody that's on the field, but maybe the DBs have a chance. And you see Levi Wallace coming down into the box, lined up over Boykin, and as soon as he sees the motion, he's coming.
Yeah, this is a fantastic play call here. They took a page out of your Colts playbook right here. Bring the corner off the edge. And Levi Wallace is one of the faster corners that they have. And Lamar, you got to be smarter. You cannot lose that much ground.
And immediately they get back on the ball. Lamar keeps this one, almost scoots out, but Mario Addison and it looks like Matt Milano squeezing down on him for a gain of 2, a long 3rd down count up, and you're on the edge of field goal range. So the Bills defense, they've started to figure out a little bit of these blocking schemes, a little bit of the wham bam misdirection motions that the Ravens have made famous. And one thing we have, as Victor Butler walks off the field, a little bit of a limp there. One thing we have, 3rd and 19, about 8 minutes left in the first. One thing we haven't seen a lot of, I haven't seen Mark Andrews on the field till just now. A lot of those plays, they were going 3 receivers and 2 backs.
And it looks like he did just step foot on the field as they pan to Harrison Phillips. And honestly, Harrison Phillips right here, if you're going to get pressured, this is the guy that needs to do it. But yeah, Mark Andrews finally on the field again.
Marquise Brown in motion, nobody covering. Lamar quickly gets out underneath to Boykin. Solid gain of, it looks like, about 14 yards. So it gets them at about the 23-yard line, 22-yard line. So a much more manageable field goal. And if you're the Bills, you take that all day. You bend a little bit, you don't shatter.
Yeah, look, you give up a 4th down like that, and then you come back and you give up that on a 3rd and 19, you'll take it.
That was That was a really good scheming up play to get Levi Wallace, or a good read by Levi Wallace. I don't know if he was meant to blitz. Maybe he was supposed to watch the tight end on that one. Maybe it was a little bit of cross-manning zone man, but whatever it was a great play, and it probably saved them a few points here, considering the Ravens were marching right down the field, and that was a bit of a momentum killer for him. And Lamar, as you've mentioned before, has a tendency to overuse his athleticism moving backwards to avoid sacks, and unfortunately gets you caught as Justin Tucker attempts the field goal. And he actually hooked it. Wow.
Oh, what a doink.
Doinked it 41 yards away. This is usually where Justin Tucker banks it left-footed as one of the best kickers of all time, but surprising to see him miss that one wide to the left.
Wow. I honestly, I've seen Justin Tucker miss some kicks, but he's one of the most accurate kickers in the game. He's literally the first kicker given an X factor ever. And this is the first time I've seen him miss a kick like this, and that was a heck of a job by the Bills. That's a win for you on that first possession. Congratulations.
Now,
they need to do that a bunch more.
Now, if you're the Bills, how do you feel about letting Gus Edwards get 23 yards on 3 carries, Lamar get yards? How do you feel about that if you're the Bills defense? Is that something you're worried about moving forward?
It wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong, but they figured it out towards the end of the drive. They bent, but they didn't break. That's kind of been their MO all season. So, yeah, you can give it up to the 20s. Just if you can keep getting them to field goals or even miss field goals, I'll take Gus Edwards getting all the yards in the middle of the 20s. And
right now the game's in commercial break, so we'll talk a little bit more about these quarterbacks we mentioned earlier on. So both of them are 24 years old coming out from the 2018 draft. It is crazy to see how young these guys are and thriving, considering you put both their ages together, they're only 5 years older than Brady by himself.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, we talk about this entire AFC being young, and then you look at this game, the two youngest guys, and honestly, one has an MVP already. And one is out here challenging for an MVP. I don't know what to say about how incredible they've done. Maybe Josh Allen did a little too much too soon, but you look at what Lamar did last year. I honestly can't say anything more about these two. They've done such a fantastic job, so young, and the coaching staff. I got to give all the credit to the coaching staff because I lamented a lot of coaching staffs for not giving young guys opportunity. And if you guys have listened to any of our podcasts, I am very adamant about that. And these coaching staffs have done the best job possible getting Josh Allen and Lamar ready to go, NFL ready and NFL caliber MVP ready.
And as we're on commercial break, we'd also like to give a quick minute to shout out one of our sponsors, the Original Craft Beer Club. Always free shipping on up to 3 bonus gifts, the finest craft beers from America's best microbreweries. Find the link on our Twitter page or in the chat down below as well.
Yeah, definitely. We actually have our link tree linked up in the description for this live stream. All of our sponsors are in our link tree. They are literally listed by their names. Go click on it. If you have not tried Craft Beer Club, if you are a beer drinker, it literally is like BarkBox for you. Brings craft beer to your home, to your doorstep. Why would you not?
Someone's clearly a fan. And speaking of craft, we're about to see a guy who has mastered his craft this year, and Josh Allen about to take the field under Dobble, the offensive coordinator, who's a hot candidate for the Chargers job now. So Justin Fields is sitting there rubbing his hands together like Birdman, licking his chops at the idea of having him come in and seeing what happened with Josh Allen. So right now, the Bills offense about to take the field. Second in the NFL in total offense this year. And that was with kind of a limited running game as well, too. So right now, 1st and 10 at about the 31-yard line. Josh Allen set to take the snap. Let's see. Drops back, looking, surveying the field. Stands in tall, finds Stephon Diggs over the middle for a 12-yard gain. That's that man, the league's leading receiver, Stephon Diggs, doing what he does best, just crossing the field, finding an open spot, and Josh Allen finds him with really good protection as well, too.
Absolutely. This is one of the keys to the game for me for this Bills offense. Do not force it to Stephon Diggs. And they didn't. Josh Allen was back there being very patient, looked very comfortable in the pocket, and Stephon Diggs, give him time, he'll get open. And I'll give the rest of the keys in just a second.
And as we've seen a lot this year, the Bills coming out in an empty set, spreading the Ravens defense out. Stephon Diggs, slight motion at the bottom of the screen, and he's coming underneath. The Ravens are playing zone. Josh Allen surveying, doing what he does now, breaking outside contain. He lofts it deep downfield, just throws it away. Couldn't get anything going there. And this is the difference with Josh Allen this year as opposed to last year's. He's not getting flustered and running away. He's using his mobility to extend plays. And unfortunately, this time he couldn't find anybody for him. Absolutely. But this is what we've seen that's different than the Josh Allen of old.
Yeah, it's very, very patient, and that's also one of my keys. Josh cannot, force it, but he also has to be smart when he is running because he does like to make these plays, fantastic throws, but he does also have to be conscious just to throw it away sometimes. And you saw it right there. He rolled out and threw it away. It goes right there in line with don't force it to Diggs. Be patient.
And 2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Josh Allen surveying the field again, getting plenty of time. This time finds John Brown for a gain of about 4. Solid job sitting in there, finding the man who finds an open spot in the zone. John Brown getting in the game early as well. And we talked about this a little bit as we look at some of the players, Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown, Dawson Knox, a whole list of weapons. And they get on the ball quickly for 3rd and 6. Josh Allen's getting them ready to go quickly. And we got ourselves a timeout. It looks like this one's on the Ravens. They have not signaled who called the timeout yet. Not sure who called the timeout yet. So
it is the Ravens.
It is
the thing away just as they panned away.
So we got 2 timeouts from the Ravens already. So that's not a good sign, especially if you get in kind of a late 2-minute drill. You're not going to find ways to. You're going to have a tough time stopping the clock now. So Ravens having a little bit of trouble getting all on the same page. And good on Josh Allen getting them ready to go real quickly.
Yeah, and while we're on this break, let me go ahead and take this moment to finish out the keys of the games before they get back to the drive. Because the way the Bills are pushing things, I might not get time to get them all out. But honestly, their third key to the game, it's a very simple one. The role players need to step up. You saw that catch by Brown, Gabriel Davis, Devin Singletary. I'm going to list you as a role player today because you haven't been existing all season. TJ Yeldon, man, you as well. We mentioned you before the game. You got to do well as well. You're going to be taking that Zach Moss role. You have to step up. And Dawson Knox, he also is a big target for Josh. Give him some opportunity, especially as a tight end. He could match up with that Patrick Queen role and kind of cause some problems for Patrick Queen at the end of the day.
He's a big athletic tight end that could find some space over the middle for them as well, especially when a lot of the focus is going to be on Stephon Diggs. And we've already seen it early in this game, the difference in these two teams. The Ravens, Lamar, 2 for 2 on that last drive, a longer play drive, 8 rushing attempts. The Bills have run 3 plays, and absolutely none of them were rushing attempts whatsoever. It was all Josh Allen, go ahead and take us to the promised land, which is what he's done for them all season. He was among the leaders in passing yards, and honestly, both these teams are riding their quarterbacks recently, too, in completely different ways.
Yeah, definitely. It's coming out 4 wide, 5 wide in 3 straight plays. When you're thinking maybe there might be snow today, maybe your game plan might change because of that. No. Sean McDermott, 4 wide, 5 wide, Josh Allen. Let's go.
Just spread them out, let them pick them apart. I mean, they're second in the league in offense, only to the Chiefs' juggernaut at nearly 400 yards a game. And while the Ravens are only 19th, that's because it is so heavily on the run, and they were, I think, 31 or 32 in passing, which doesn't help when Lamar misses a game as well, too. So that drops it down a little bit. What's interesting to see is these teams are both known for big plays. Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Josh Allen, Lamar, all of them. They're 2 of the top 10 defenses in the league giving up 20-plus yard plays. The Ravens were 3rd and the Bills were 8th. So it's going to almost feel like who could be more methodical and who could stay within themselves and not get too greedy or doink off a field goal attempt as well. That might haunt them the way these teams play.
Yeah, let's try to avoid more doinks going forward. But you know what? You mentioned the defense, and I got these keys to the defense right here right before we get back to the game. Get pressure with Campbell and Ngakoue. You got to get pressure off the edges, keep Allen contained. You also have to bracket Diggs. We saw Diggs on the first play get open. You have to bracket him. You do not have to worry about anybody else. Stephon Diggs keeps this team rolling. Let the other guys beat you. And finally, tackle Josh Allen on your first opportunity. Do not let him extend a play.
And 3rd and 6, Josh Allen drops back, steps up deep. He's going to unload this one. He's going deep for Diggs, who is on that. Okay, that looks like more of a throwaway. That was about 15 yards over Stephon Diggs and Marcus Peters' head. So, and Stephon's looking for a flag, but I don't think it doesn't look like he's going to get one. So that was a good job by the Ravens, keeping the safety over the top. And it looks like they forced a punt after a rough drive that ended in no points. And that matchup with Marcus Peters, a clean release off of Stephon Diggs. And as he was going for now, as we look at the replay, Peters does have that hand on the back of him. I don't think you call that. That'd be kind of a weak, rough call. So I see what he is asking for, though, but you can't make that call there.
Yeah, no, look, we have that horse collar tackle nowadays. He was literally just holding his hand up here like, hey, best friend.
He was just making sure he didn't exactly break loose. As the punt is away, a deep, pretty solid punt, fair catch called for by Devin Duvernay. And Devin Duvernay, and the Ravens will take over at about the 10-yard line as they're heading to break one more time. And with that, we're going to have a quick word from one of our sponsors. Kelcey, you'd like to mention?
Yeah, definitely. We got, if you guys haven't heard before, I really hope you've heard by now. We've talked about it on every episode. Fubo TV, guys, that's how we're watching this game right now. It is cutting the cord if you have never heard of Fubo TV. It brings you all your local channels. It brings you all your pay-per-view channels, all your big fancy satellite channels. It brings you in one place. Right here on Fubo TV, and you actually save about $30 to $40 per month compared to your cable bill. And you don't have to worry about a contract. Why would you not sign up for Fubo TV? I know we did it, and honestly, it's changed all of our sports watching lives. So, if you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. Linktree in the description below. Click the Linktree, then click on Fubo TV, and start your free 7-day trial today.
And as we head back to the game, 6:17 left in the first quarter. Still 0-0, a chilly 30-degree day here as both coaches trying to figure this thing out. Both teams have driven down not a whole lot of points so far, which is kind of surprising considering they're both top 10 scoring teams. The Bills were the second highest scoring team in the league, especially the hot streak they've been on, and the Ravens were 7th. And as we mentioned, you want to come into the playoffs hot. Both teams have done that. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit. As 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line, Patrick Picard goes in motion. Lamar now brings Willie Snead across the field. Drops back to pass, surveying the field. Not finding anybody, stepping up. He pump fakes. He's going to take off. 2 guys go down, and he scoots out of bounds for about 4 or 5 yards. That's the Lamar Jackson X factor, is making almost something into a positive gain of 5.
That was a fantastic job by Lamar. He didn't fully commit to the scramble. He did continue to look downfield, and that pump fake fooled 2 guys. Which, if you're the defensive lineman, why are you falling for a pump fake when you know this guy's going to run her? You got to do better.
When Lamar has that low release, it's almost like shooting fish in a barrel. Sometimes you can't resist. So 2nd and 5, a little under 6 minutes left in the first quarter now. And the Ravens will take over at the 15-yard line. Mark Andrews coming in motion. Patrick Picard in the backfield, joined with Gus Edwards and Lamar. We see Jordan Poyer roll down to the box. Lamar hands it off to Gus Edwards. And what a shot by, looks like Harrison was in there. Yeah, Micah Hyde was in there as well. Phillips as well. What a play by the Bills defense. And on the backside, keep it contained because Lamar came out the back door, but there was a guy there waiting for him.
Yeah, Harrison Phillips, man, he had a great move right off the ball. Last play, he was the guy that fell down when Lamar fooled him with the pump fake, and he made up for it right there. He broke right through, slips the guards, slips right by the center. Center didn't even know he actually even slipped the guard, and he's right there.
Clean swing move, and the Bills bringing everybody up on the line now for 3rd and 5 from the 25-yard line. Josh Normal one-on-one at the bottom. Lamar drops back, surveys. A lot of traffic, a lot of congestion, but Lamar, he's moving. There's a lot of scooting. He pulls back, he throws it. JK drops the ball. It was right on the spot, but he looked to run before he caught it, so that'll bring up 4th down and 5. That was quite the pocket presence by Lamar. He wanted to take off, but the Bills had pretty good gap control. That was almost a backyard football, and Lamar found a wide open man. JK's just got to squeeze that one before he could take off.
That looked like something like we do in Madden with Lamar. He just keeps running into the back of his own offensive lineman, and you finally just stop, look upfield, and you get wide open J.K. Dobbins. JK, you got to catch that, man. Help your quarterback out, who just made a really intelligent play. And
it looks like the Ravens will have to punt after a 3-and-out. Sam Koch back with Andre Roberts. Andre Roberts back to return. All-pro return man, by the way, as well, too. Yeah. Bills look like they're coming after. They drop out of it. Sam Koch gets it off and is away down center field. And it looks like a short one. Yeah, that one goes out at about the Bills' 40.
So Micah Hyde punches it back towards the goal line, which it came at the 41. Yeah, that was a terrible punt.
That sets the Bills up in some really good scoring position. 1 or 2 plays, and you're right in field goal range. And neither offense has really got going yet, but this might be just what they need, is having short field.
Yeah, definitely. You look at this field position. This is perfect for what they want to do. You might be surprised they might come out and run the ball here since they have such short field. But then again, it's Sean McDermott, so he's probably going to come out 5 wide and throw all goes on the first play. You
got Josh Allen, you got Dobble. Let's just let him at it. I mean, it's got you this far. Why change it at this point?
And Stephon down there somewhere, right? That's the little thing.
Shoot. Anyway, as we've talked about too, both of these teams, probably the 2 hottest teams coming into the playoffs right now. I mean, the Bills have won 10 out of their last 11. Their only loss was to that Hail Mary with D-Hop down there somewhere, catching it over 3 people. And then you got the Ravens, who won 7 of their last 9, including 6 straight. And one of those losses was the COVID-19 Wednesday afternoon game, basically, that they just couldn't figure it out. Ended up having Trace McSorley and RG3, and it was just a mess that they only lost by a small amount, too.
Yeah, no, definitely. These teams have been on fire. The Ravens, especially, you look at that COVID game. Since the COVID game, I'd even say maybe even once Lamar took the Browns to the Super Bowl, it's even gotten even better. I mean, goodness, he's been figuring it out. His passing game has finally figured it out. I mean, don't get me wrong. He still doesn't pass well. It still looks like a burden on the world when he throws the ball. But you know what? He's doing the job. He's doing what he has to do. And Josh Allen on the other side. What can I say about this year, man? He had 3 games where they slipped up at the middle, and then since then 10 out of 11 without a run game. Like, can we just have to keep reiterating this? You have Devin Singletary, who's been one of the more fantastic young runners in the game. Hasn't really been able to get going this season. Zach Moss, he stepped up, but it still wasn't. I think 3 games he had a 100-yard rusher.
Something along those lines. It wasn't the most run heavy centric thing you'd like to see, considering where they were the first 2 years of the Josh Allen, Sean McDermott tenure, where they were kind of a ball control-ish type offense that relied on their defense and sound coaching and sound fundamental football. Now it's Josh Allen, carry us. We'll get some takeaways.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, look, I give all the credit in the world right now to this season and this coaching job they've done with Josh Allen in the offseason, in a COVID offseason of that. You can't get together. You have to do this over Zoom. How do you talk to this guy and tell him your footwork needs work, but you can't be on the field with him to tell him his footwork needs work? And he's able to do it, able to learn, able to educate himself, and turn himself into one of the more fantastic accuracy improvements we've ever seen.
Exactly. A jump of, I think, it was 15%, if I'm not mistaken, as the Bills will take over again now from the 41-yard line going in. So they're in Ravens territory to start this drive. Crowded backfield in the back with Josh Allen and looks like Devin Singletary. They will fake the handoff to Devin Singletary. Quick dump off pass to Stephon Diggs. Runs right through Marcus Peters and Elliott for a gain of about 14. Stephon Diggs getting involved early now. That's 2 catches for 30 yards for him off 3 targets. And Josh Allen starting the game 3 for 5 for 33 yards. About a 780 rating. So this is kind of what they want to get going is Stephon Diggs, Marcus Peters. I think this is a matchup the Bills seem to be pretty fond of. They keep lining up Stephon on his side as opposed to Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's a better matchup for him in general. Marcus Peters, fantastic corner, but this year has not been his best. And let's be honest, he's kind of lost a step, and he's not as physical as Marlon on the other side.
Don't tell him that. It's first and 10 from the 22-yard line. Bills on the cusp of the red zone, 5 wide. Josh Allen drops back, surveying the field, start directing traffic. I'm trying to make a man miss. Stiff arms the pass rusher. Don't know how he got out of that one. And he will throw it down the field. He will throw this one away. And this goes back to your key to the game. If you get to Josh, you got to tackle him, as we do have some yellow laundry on the field.
And I think that's Patrick Queen that just missed that tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So we look at this, and here we are.
And we've got a roughing the passer call, so 15 free yards. Ravens shooting themselves in the foot on that one. You can't make that mistake.
Matabuki, okay.
Let's see this. We're looking at the replay. Josh Allen throws it away. A little bit of a shove. Yeah, you can't make contact. A little bit of an acting job there by Josh Allen. A little bit of throwing the shoulders back. But when you're moving at that speed, it's pretty easy to fall backwards when a 300-pound man pushes you to. You got to be smart.
This is my Oscar for acting. My name is Josh Allen. Thank you very much. That was a fantastic job by Josh Allen, feeling the contact, going down off balance. But yeah, you're the lineman. You can't touch him. You know that nowadays.
First and 10 from about the 11-yard line, so they can still get a first down without scoring. Devin Singletary coming from out wide to the backfield to join Josh Allen. We got Dawson Knox and John Brown. Dawson Knox coming in motion now as well, too. Popping back out. And you will fake the handoff. Quick screen pass, and it's batted down there by Awuzie. Your guy, oh, wait, that was Bowser. My apologies. Bowser knocking it down at the line. So 2nd and 10. Bills on the cusp of scoring, but this is where the Ravens defense has clamped down throughout the season. 2nd in the league in scoring on the season.
Yeah, and I actually think it was Bowser on the previous play that missed the sack. But yeah, you sit here and look at this, man. These Bills, what have they done so far this drive? A couple quick outs, and now they're on the inside the red zone. This defense is killing themselves right now. And
that, as we mentioned, second only to the Rams, who we saw play earlier today in points per game, at about 19 points per game. And now 2nd and 10, Josh Allen takes a snap. Quick screen out to Devin Singletary. Not a whole lot of space there. Marcus Peters, among others, in there on the tackle for about a gain of 1. Not a whole lot of room to work there. Patrick Queen, Bowser, the whole Ravens flock ended up on that one. So Bills will be faced with about a 3rd down and 9 with a chance for a first down, but you basically have to get in the end zone to get this first down.
Yeah, that was a fantastic job pursuing by absolutely everybody on that side of the ball. I mean, it was a quick out to Singletary, and you have 5 guys, including 2 linemen, 2 guys that were engaged, and then Ngakoue managing to sneak himself in there right at the end of the play. So 6 guys.
And now we see 8 passes and 0 rushes for the Bills so far. Dawson Knox coming into motion, lineup as a wingbat. About 5 seconds left on the play clock. Josh Allen getting ready to take snap. The Ravens pretending to send heat, not sending it. Josh Allen fires over the middle, and an incomplete pass for, it looks like, Gabriel Davis. He's got it. Gabriel. That's a tough catch, but in traffic against Marlon Humphrey, one of the best corners in the game. But if it hits you, that one, you might want to catch that one. That one was a pretty good ball by Allen, where only his guy could catch it, a big-bodied guy like Gabriel Davis.
Look, I mentioned it. You got to step up if you're the role players. Gabriel Davis, you've been one of the better ones all season. Yeah, there's a lot of contact, but it touches both hands, and you dropped it. You got to do better, my guy. That's a fantastic scoring opportunity. He just didn't get his hands together at the right time, and that one slips by.
That was a good play by Marlon Humphrey to make a play on the backhand, as well as Bass will attempt a 28-yard field goal, and it will be good right down the center pipe. So the Bills take a 3-0 lead with about 3 minutes left in the first quarter, and considering the high scoringness of this team, kind of surprising, but if you're the Ravens, you take that all day considering the field position they started and how they marched down the field. So you're holding this Bills team from getting going, which they didn't get going early last week either. They got rolling second and third quarter. So if you're the Ravens, you're not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, definitely. Look, if you're the Ravens, you better hold on tight. You better get it together real quick because this Bills team, they can score a lot and in a hurry. They did it, I look at week 17 with the Dolphins with two different teams. We talked about this before the game. It's two different teams beat the Dolphins by 14 or more points.
They had Bills A squad come in, beat the Dolphins by 7-14. Bills B come in, beat the Dolphins by 7-14. So they've been rolling, and it was really amplified by that game in week 17 when they didn't have a whole lot to play for, especially with the Steelers sitting everybody. They kind of knew where they were at. They still went out there and absolutely exploded over a playoff team and destroyed the Dolphins' playoff dreams. But so moving forward, though, too, we talked a lot about these teams' offenses. Let's take a little bit of a look at their defense. So we mentioned the Ravens, 7th in total defense on the season, and we've seen a lot of it so far, kind of holding the Bills with it, minus the roughing the passer call. They've done a pretty good job not letting the Bills get too far off. Bills have been 14th, which was kind of surprising because when we talked about this team before the season, we expected it to be defense and a little more explosion with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, not a 180-degree flip to being Chiefs deep east, basically.
Yeah, no, definitely. You look at both of these defenses. This Ravens defense, man, you kind of saw a little bit right there on that play with Marlon Humphrey and Gabriel Davis. One of the best things they're able to do is make contact with receivers in a very legal way. Rough them up in a way that you don't break any rules, but you kind of bend them a lot. You might catch a couple PIs that suck, but you know what? You're doing a fantastic job, and you're making these receivers in an old school fashion kind of regret going over the middle. And for the Bills, man, yeah, this is 14th is not where I expected this defense. But again, I mentioned it earlier. They're a very big bend but don't break defense. They will let you get it between the 20s, but in the red zone, they seem to have figured it out, pretty well. Like they're middle of the pack, so I can't take too much away from them. But yeah, they're middle of the pack, and that's all you can say about it. You got to do better, but at the same time, they're not doing terribly.
And at the same time, the Bills may bend a lot, but they do take the ball away, 3rd in takeaways on the season as well. And both teams +4 in turnover differential. The difference is the Bills take it away more, but they give it away a little bit more too. They're 20th in giveaways because sometimes they get a little greedy. Ravens 17th in takeaways, but only 12th in giveaways, so they don't hand the ball back over too often. And we are back now. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left in the first. The Bills just scored the first points of the game, 3-0 lead. Chilly 30-degree day, a little bit below freezing, but can't ask for too much more for playoff football. No snow, no precipitation. Not a whole lot of wind either by the looks of it. So can't complain if you're either team at this point, especially the Bills, considering how they like to air it out.
Exactly. Yeah. No, if you're the Bills, honestly, I'll be honest, this is perfect for you. It's cold, but not snowy. If you're the Ravens, I think you're a little disappointed, especially if you're Harbaugh.
You're going on the road and you're hoping for a little snow as that kick is a touchback from Bass. So the Ravens will take over at the 25.
Definitely. Yeah. I think if I was Harbaugh, I would have hoped for a little bit of snow just to kind of hope that run game becomes more of a focus for the Bills because it hasn't been there. So why not put it on pressure? So yeah, that would have been a little better for the Ravens. But if you're the Bills, this is perfect.
And we talked a little bit about rushing. These two quarterbacks, talk about multi-dimensional new era quarterbacks. Both of them like to run, which we'll talk about more as we get ahead. As the Ravens come out with a heavy set, Picard comes in motion, one receiver, one back, multiple tight ends. Lamar takes the snap at about the 25, hands it off to Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards off the right side. He goes down. The ball pops out. It looks like the Ravens recovered it for a gain of about 3 to 4. So,
and that was Poyer with the hit there at the end. I don't know who had him wrapped up. It looked like maybe Norman or one of the other corners, but it was Poyer who came in late with a big hit, and it looked like it helped jar the bar loose. And it looks like Josh Norman did get the punch on it.
Josh Norman with the peanut punch right there, and that was Skura, a 6th offensive lineman who came in tight end to make the tackles. He walks off the field, comes in, gets the ball, walks off. All in a day's work for a 6th offensive lineman.
Not a bad 6 offensive lineman in Matt Skura, let me be honest.
Not at all. 2nd and 7, Ravens take over. Spread look, Picard in the backfield, J.K. Dobbins in the slot to the bottom of the screen. Lamar drops back, surveying the field. Still surveying. He's starting to break the pocket. He breaks out left. He's going down. Matt Milano chases him down, misses the tackle, but Lamar only gains about 4 to 5 yards. So looks like Lamar will be set up with a 3rd down and 2. Bills defense got a little bit of pressure, held their gap control, didn't let Lamar get too loose, but Lamar once again able to make a little something out of a lot of nothing.
Yeah, I mentioned this in our NFL and Hinge show. You look at this and not really spying him, but spying him with Matt Milano. Him and Tremaine in the middle, kind of just keeping their eye and ready to go at any moment. And Matt Milano missed the tackle, but he did ride him out enough to get him out of bounds. you can't honestly. You didn't give up 10 yards to Lamar scrambling, so it's a good job.
3rd and 4 now. The Ravens line up. 4 seconds left on the play clock. And Gus Edwards in motion. Mark Andrews in motion. And the play clock's going to hit 0. They're going to get it off. Lamar Jackson takes it off the right side. Gus Edwards out in front. And in comes the Bills defense swarming for a gain of, looks like they might not even gain anything. Ed Oliver amongst everybody on the tackle. The whole Bills Mafia, Josh Norman, all of them came in and swarm on that play.
Josh Norman, one of the better this is one of the things that I think he's been underrated on. Dodging the people blocking him to get to the edge. He holds the edge better than most corners and most even defensive ends for that matter.
And as we look at the replay too, Tremaine Edmonds from the backside linebacker covering some range. As all the blockers engage, he comes flying in. No room for Lamar Jackson to go on 4th and 4. Sam Cook will attempt to punt, but we see a swarm of yellow flags all over the field.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, on the previous play, the one thing I do want to mention, you did mention the 2 guys in motion. That was very, very close to being a legal procedure on the offense. They barely got that off. It just had enough time to get them set and then get the ball off. But, yeah, that was very close to a legal procedure as we see it offsides on the offense.
Yeah, but false starts will be 4th and 9 as a punt for Sam Cook. And we also saw the play clock was at 0 when they snapped the ball. That was awfully close. So they've cut it close a little bit now. I mean, they did have to use the timeout earlier as well. So Ravens taking their time at the play clock as the clock is running with about 45 seconds left in the first quarter. 3-0 lead for the Bills. Sam Cook will catch it and get the punt away. And this one, solid punt here. Andre Roberts will wave it off. And he'll pick it up after a bounce.
Why?
And it looks like he picked it up at about the 29-yard line, so that's where the Bills will take over. Got kind of a questionable return, but at the same time, he stops it from bouncing too much farther down, too, with the way it was going.
Well, see, the thing about that, it makes the contact with the defender. He makes clear contact that pushes the ball forward. It would have gotten pushed back to where he makes the contact, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a loss of 6 yards in positioning. You still have it above the 20, but why not just sit there? Don't put pressure on yourself to not fumble. I know you're an all-pro, but don't put pressure on yourself. That was a little unnecessary in my eyes.
When you're as good a returner as he is, sometimes you just got to say, screw it, we got something here, too. So right now, 3-0 lead, about 30 seconds left in the first quarter. And what are your takeaways so far from this game that we've seen?
Man, these offenses are just a hair off right now. The defenses are doing a great job pursuing, but they're not really holding their gaps, if you will. But they are doing a great job in pursuit at the end of the day. You saw it with Tremaine Edmonds ranging there. You saw it with that quick throw out to Devin Singletary. So, that's kind of my takeaway so far is these offenses need to get it going a little bit, but the defenses, they need to control their gaps.
And then the Bills will take over, as you mentioned, at about the 36-yard line. Josh Allen takes the snap, fakes the handoff, or once again, 0 run plays. Josh Allen's going to unload it deep up the right sideline. He's got Stephon Diggs, but he overshot him by about 5 yards there. He had Marcus Peters beat, and the safety, Elliott, wasn't quite able to get there in time, so it will be 2nd and 10 for the Bills. He had a man there. He had a man.
Yeah, he had him wide open. I don't know what the Ravens that type of I think it was a zone, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a cover 2. But I don't know what they're thinking. You literally just let him free 15 yards downfield, and he's running 30-plus wide open with nobody near him. If Allen could put that on him, we mentioned how his accuracy's improved. It still doesn't help when you're throwing 60 yards downfield. And
2nd and 10, the Bills will take over. 25 seconds left in the first quarter. Josh Allen drops back. He avoids, it looks like, Judon. He runs and he throws it down to the sideline, and it looks like it was a catch by John Brown. So once again, Josh Allen's mobility getting them a first down. So it'll be 1st and 10 after an 11-yard gain.
You got to make that tackle if you're the first man. You cannot let him break contain. And Judon, you went right up the middle, right at him. You have to make a tackle. And have to slow him down somehow.
Tony toe tap John Brown holding both feet on the sideline as well, just an inch ahead of the first down marker, and that will be the end of the first quarter. Buffalo Bills are cooking, up 3-0 with the ball, and we have the second quarter coming up here in just a little bit. And welcome back, everybody, to the High Low Sports Podcast broadcast of this Bills Ravens playoff game here, as we're just coming back now. And Kelcey, one thing we've kind of noticed about this game is it has two quarterbacks who a lot of people said weren't going to be quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, they said, should be a running back or receiver. And Josh Allen, they said, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And so far, we got an MVP and a near MVP. Welcome to Josh Allentown, as we're seeing right now, home of the O'Shell Children's Hospital, as the Bills will now take over 1st and 10 for about the 50-yard line. Kelcey, what have you kind of noticed here in the first quarter as Josh Allen will take the snap? He surveys the field. He's unloading another one downfield. John Brown looks like he...
tap again.
Tony toe tap, John Brown. Shout out to Antonio Brown for the Tony toe tap. For a 15-yard gain there, John Brown getting loose early after missing some games and just starting to come back at the end of the season. So, Kelcey, now we'll hear, what do you have to say so far?
Yeah, sorry. That was they came back out 5 wide real quick on snap, and they're coming back out again 4 wide, single man in the backfield. Josh Allen, he throws it up to Gabriel Davis. Gabriel Davis still hobbling. But yeah, no, Josh Allen, man, I'll start with him. I talked about it earlier. He's done a fantastic job as a project quarterback to turn himself into 3 years an MVP candidate. Let's be honest, he was an MVP candidate, probably a front runner until about week 13 maybe. And then he's still a dark horse at the end of the year.
Honestly, it took Aaron Rodgers having a top 6-7 quarterback season of all time for him to not get it. Thanks to Brian DeBall. We've mentioned him a lot too. Potential future Chargers head coach as well too. Justin Herbert, we mentioned this earlier. He's rubbing his hands together like, yeah, that's my guy. And it looks like Josh Allen, great, takes snap, 4 seconds, 2nd and 10 from about the 30. Quick screen to Devin Singletary. You can't run it. You throw the ball to Devin Singletary, losing his footing. Looks like only a gain about 2. He had some blockers and a little bit of room there if he was able to keep his feet.
Yeah, definitely. And that's actually been one thing they've gotten Devin Singletary involved in a lot this year. But one thing that they didn't do enough, in my opinion, I think last year they did a great job with Singletary, get him in on these screens. This year they could have done it more since the run game wasn't working. I feel like that helped set up their run game in a very weird way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd say. Is like it's basically a quick pass is a virtuoso version of the run. 3rd and 8 from about the 30-yard line, the Ravens 30-yard line from the Bills. Spreading it out once again, Devin Singletary at the bottom of the screen here. Cole Beasley in the slot where he does his best work. 4 seconds left on the play clock. Josh Allen still surveying. Takes the snap, surveying the field. Steps up into the pocket. Starts scrambling out to his right. This is where he's dangerous. He will keep it and gain it about 4-yard lines. 4 yards before he scoots out of bounds. So they will be faced with a 4th down in about 3 to 4 yards. And if you're Josh Allen, that's what you kind of like to see too, is you see him get out of bounds. Don't take a hit there. I know it's 4th and 70. If you try and truck stick a guy, you're probably not going to truck stick him for 6 yards.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. He probably could drop his shoulder and get close. But yeah, I don't know who even ushered him out of bounds. It was 58 for the Ravens, who I haven't seen on the field really at all. But that's a fantastic job, even by both sides, really. Josh Allen getting out of bounds. Don't take an unnecessary hit because we know how you like to drop your shoulder.
We know you're capable of running just about anybody over by the sheer amount of times you have done it in your short careers. The Bills will kick this 43-yard field goal. And another wide right. This one not even really close, not even close enough for a doink. 6 feet to the right, it looks like, by the next-gen tracker. So 2 missed field goals already, and we're not even halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah, definitely. Tyler Bass has been one of the better kickers in the league since he got the chance. And to see him miss it right from the start, like that came off his foot already wide. And that was not with the wind. That's not coming back. This is crazy to see these kickers. 2 of the more accurate kickers we have in our game today, especially the last 2 seasons. I mean, it could play a part at the end of this game.
If you're the Ravens, you're taking a deep sigh of relief because you have fantastic field position on that one. Bills get another opportunity. And once again, you hold them to no points. I mean, you have kept this high-flying, high-scoring, bombs-away offense from getting the end zone. And so far, they've been kind of trying to do that. They're not even trying to run on this Ravens defense. That Josh Allen carry was the lone run of the game for the Bills. It's been the Josh Allen show so far, and it has the lead, but it's not quite as smooth sailing as they've been playing against this high-ranked defense.
No, definitely. This isn't what I expected yet. I did not expect them to come out and throw, because I think we all expected snow this weekend. So I did expect a little bit of running. But I will say that this is, the fantastic job by the Ravens, bending but not breaking on the other side, which they normally never do. They're all about breaking you before anything else.
They get theirs, and you might be able to pick up some of the scraps along the way, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And, to get back to the point about these quarterbacks, though, we talk about them not being quarterbacks, if you will. We did a show about Lamar, and we literally call him the throwing running back?
Yeah, it was after his Dolphins game last year, his initial coming out party where he said, not bad for a running back. Smirk on his face. Basically throwing 7 touchdowns in a game, making his point loud and clear real quick.
Yeah, you don't win an MVP as a quarterback without being able to be a quarterback is my answer to that. And I think this goes back to what I mentioned with the coaches earlier. A lot of teams wouldn't have given Lamar this opportunity. They would have demanded he switch positions, and they would have never seen what Lamar could do. And I do think, his passing has come along, and it's come along a lot further than where we expected. But I do think there's still room to grow for him. But I do think at this point, I literally couldn't have asked for more. This is perfect what I want from Lamar. He may be a throwing running back, but you know what? He's the best damn throwing running back I've seen yet.
Well, him and Josh Allen, both we mentioned 24 years old. It's the young guns in the AFC. And both these quarterbacks are dual threats. I mean, they're 2 of 4 quarterbacks joining Kyler Murray and Cam Newton with 100-plus rushing attempts on the season. So it's not like Josh Allen's just a sitting there pocket passer. I mean, him and Lamar are both getting loose. As Lamar and the Ravens will take over about 13 minutes left in the half. 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Willie Snead comes in motion. Hand off to J.K. Dobbins at the bottom to the right. And not a whole lot of room there is, once again, this Bills defense being stifling. It looks like not Matt Milano. It looks like Troy Murphy, among others, where they're swarming to the ball. It's hard for me to pick a guy who made the tackle when they all get there, it seems like.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy to see. I wasn't expecting much passing from Lamar, but comparing the two right now, 7 and 14, 2 for 3. One guy has passed every down, basically, and the other one has ran every down. So it's a very unique thing to watch. That last play, man, that was great pursuit again. JK had it trying to make a cutback, but nothing to cut back when they're pursuing that well.
And it ends up being a 1-yard gain, so 2nd and 9 from the Ravens from about the 35-yard line. And you mentioned all passing, all running. John Brown alone has 3 catches for 36 yards, so he has more catches than Lamar has completions and more than twice as many yards as Lamar will take the snap. 2nd and 9, looks for room to run, bouncing off his offensive lineman again, looking for any sort of lane. Eyes downfield, he flicks it down. He's got a wide open J.K. Dobbins. He holds on to this one, cuts back inside. He's still going, breaks a few tackles. Micah Hyde wrestles him out of bounds. About a 20 to 30-yard gain there by J.K. Dobbins. He didn't drop this one, and Lamar making something out of nothing.
Look, this is Lamar that I wanted to see so far his entire career in the NFL. He did it a bunch in Louisville. He'd roll out with his eyes up. And when his eyes are up, he can find somebody like J.K. Dobbins who did not drop this one. And you know what? This goes back. You can't blow contain on that backside, and he completely blew it.
And we got a bad snap on the very following play. Lamar picks it up deep. He's on the opposite side of the 50, and it looks like he'll throw it incomplete. So I don't know what happened with that snap, and good on Mark Andrews for not catching that too, because that still would have been a long loss.
That would have been a gain. He actually
would that have been a gain?
Yeah, wow. So that is an incredible play from Lamar to get athletic play.
That's a terrible snap. If we see the replay, it's low, barely gets off the ground to Lamar's left, so he has to go back and chase it about 15 yards. So I guess that looks like that would be a gain about 3 looking on the replay now. So heck of a job by Lamar. That would have been the best gain of 3 all season. Good. Somehow Lamar, Matt Milano has contained, but Lamar gets outside of him to basically throw it away. So the Ravens live, 2nd and 10, 5 seconds left on the play clock in Bills territory. J.K. Dobbins in motion. Lamar will fake the handoff to him. We got a flag on the field as Mario Addison makes the tackle for about 2. And it looked like J.K. Dobbins had some room to run there if he had chose to hand it off.
Yeah, honestly, I wonder if this was a false start. I wonder if this is not even going to count. I saw Mark Andrews. It looked like he moved before the play.
And it looks like we got another offsides call. All right, so it works out for the Ravens regardless. So basically a 5-yard gain, 2nd and 5. And even we're seeing the replay now, the center smacking himself on the chest like, my bad with that snap. He's not too thrilled with him on that one because he knows that could have cost them some points. We saw it last week. First play of the game, Pouncey shoots it into the end zone, basically.
Yeah, and this AFC North teams, we don't need any more fumbles in the end zone. The Steelers are gone. We don't need anybody else to do.
All right, so 2nd and 5 from the 30-yard line. Ravens going in, hands the ball off to Gus Edwards. Absolutely nowhere to go, but he managed to gain a couple yards after breaking a tackle in the backfield.
Is Micah Hyde alive after that? Did anybody see him fly on the back end of this play? Oh, my goodness. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if he got blocked, but he was about 6 feet in the air horizontal.
And that's one thing we've seen a lot from these safeties, not only throughout the year, but throughout their careers, is they're not scared to hit. Like, they will play linebacker if you want them to. I mean, they're not afraid to take on blockers, come down and crack with anybody. And you mentioned on that one, Micah Hyde comes flying in from the back and makes the tackle.
That's one of the craziest things I've seen so far in this game. It was just one of those funny moments that only the Bills could provide. It sounded like.
And it'll be 3rd and 3 for the Ravens at about the 27-yard line. Willie Snead in motion. Coming across the field, there's a whole bunch of mesh points. The ball gets tipped as he tries to throw it to Mark Andrews, and that gives Matt Milano time to crash down on it and tip it away. It looks like that one, someone got a little bit of a hand on that one as the ball came out. So it'll be 4th and 3 for the Ravens, and it looks like the field goal unit will come on. That's a heck of a play by the defensive lineman to disrupt that. It looked like there's a couple guys open underneath, including Mark Andrews running pretty unabated. Matt Milano had to come and make a play at the back end of that.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about the linemen getting their hands up, man. That's been a fantastic coaching adaptation for defensive linemen recently. We've started seeing it with J.J. Watt, and we see it with everybody now. If you can't get there, get your hands up. It's been a fantastic adjustment.
And this time, Justin Tucker will kick a 46-yard field goal, and this one will doink off the other upright. He has missed 2 field goals today, and he's only missed 4 in this postseason career. So not a good day for Justin Tucker. Not a lot of wind, not a lot of snow. You could barely see the flags moving, and he's hit both crossbars now.
Yeah, this side of the field, this side of the stadium, there's very little wind working against you. It looks like it's working with you, really. It looks like they were blown out. So I don't know what's going on with Justin. Maybe he's trying to overkick. This reminds me of Adam Vinatieri last year, just kind of all-pro kicker, all-world kicker, just not doing it.
Something just looked a little bit off, too. So right now, as it stands, 3 points on the board for both teams, 9 points left off the board. So we still got 3-0 Bills, about 11 minutes left in the first half, and the Bills are going to take over with pretty decent field position as we recap some of the earlier stats. Lamar's now 3 for 6 for 43 yards, 31 of them on that broken play to J.K. Dobbins. Josh Allen, 7 of 13 for 68 yards, 36 of which have gone to John Brown, who's made his presence known early today, getting down the field. I think the big story so far is 15 rush attempts for 59 yards. So just under literally 4 yards a carry. It's 3.9, as opposed to 1 carry for 4 yards for the Buffalo Bills. So 2 completely different philosophies, and honestly the same results basically is 2 field goal attempts each. The only difference is Buffalo is able to bank in one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I talked about it in the keys to the game. Average 3 yards a run for the Ravens, check. Don't force the ball if you're the Bills, check. Don't miss kicks. That was not included. I couldn't have assumed 2 of the most accurate kickers, though, in the league are going to be sitting here missing these kicks. This is a crazy game to watch, crazy thing to witness. I just checked Twitter just to see what was going on in the Twitterverse, and the first one I see is Pat McAfee. Of course, the man for the brand for all kickers. He is 100% in same agreement with us. What are we seeing right now? This might be a historic moment in Justin Tucker's career because we've never seen him miss 2 in a game.
He hasn't even missed. He missed 2 in his postseason career before today. Like he had 1 missed field goal before this postseason run altogether, and then he had the 1 last week as well too. So this has not been good for Justin Tucker. He's been absolutely outstanding throughout the entire year, his entire career. But today's not been his day, and it might end up costing the Ravens if they don't get this going soon.
Yeah, definitely. And I send a shout out to everybody out here listening. Looks like we got 5 viewers out here. Maybe one of them's us. I don't know. I think they're our moms, our family. I know my Uncle Francis is watching. So, guys, appreciate you checking it out. This is just a test. We are out here testing this out because we will be going live on Colorcast tomorrow to be aired for the Bucs Saints game as well. And we're going to try to be doing it on here as well. So this is a test for us. We're hoping to do this a lot more in the future. Maybe even hit some baseball games, some basketball games. But I don't know if we have 6 hours for a baseball game anymore.
And honestly, the way UFC was going, we might have to get some of those because there were some bangers today. As the Bills will take over now as we're back. 10 minutes, 40 seconds, 7 seconds left in the quarter. Josh Allen and the Bills will operate from about the 36-yard line. Crowded backfield with him, Devin Singletary, and it looks like Dawson Knox. Josh Allen takes a snap, turns his shoulder, surveying the field, throws a low one to Stephon Diggs. They're calling it a catch. It was really close for about an 11-yard gain, but some of the Ravens are saying it hit the ground, but it doesn't seem to be a big fuss. So I think Stephon Diggs might have got himself under that one.
And it looked like Josh Allen saved them from a bad snap right there. That looked like that was going wide left, and he pulled that back.
And they won't give him time to challenge as they'll take a quick snap. Josh Allen loses his footing, but gets back up and scrambles. He will throw it down the field, and this one will be caught by John Brown as well. What a play by Josh Allen to not only get the ball on the ball quickly to snap it, but then makes something out of nothing after losing his footing as well and finding John Brown for another 11-yard gain. Josh Allen's putting on a show today early with some of these broken plays. I don't know how he got that ball in there. Marcus Peters hit the ball basically into John Brown's hand.
Look, there's a gap that is 6 inches wide, and the ball is 5.5 inches in diameter. I don't know how he drops this in there. This is a fantastic play by Josh Allen. I talked about how he loves to make plays when he rolls out. He fell down on purpose just to roll out.
He did that to bait down the spot that he was there. So 1st and 10 from about the 43-yard line. Josh Allen dropped back, surveying deep. He's going to load another one down the field. A little high for Gabriel Davis. Marlon Humphrey underneath. Not a lot of space to fit that one in there. It'll be 2nd and 10. I guess they can't all be insane super plays. I guess Josh Allen is human after all. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought Josh Allen actually is human? Who does that? But, the one thing I noticed, Gabriel Davis has been limping the entire game since that play with Marlon Humphrey earlier. Where he dropped the ball. He has been limping ever since he stood up, and he's sitting here running deep routes, but limping his way back to the line, and they're keeping him in. I don't know really what's going on, but I do think that's something to keep an eye on because he is such a big threat for this defense.
Well, now they're coming out with 4 wide receivers as Isaiah McKenzie checks in. 2nd and 10. Josh Allen will fake the handoff to Devin Singletary. A quick flare-out pass to John Brown for about a gain of 2. Looks like that might have been an RPO because there was some offensive linemen getting ready to take off down the field. Not a lot of room to scoot either, so basically an inverted running play there for the Bills, but continues their trend of 18 passes with 1 rushing attempt on a pass play.
Yeah, this is crazy something to watch. And, they're showing Deion Dawkins right now, and I love talking about this guy. A young left tackle out of Temple, absolutely doing a great job holding the edge. He's one of the, he's trying to keep Ngakoue, he's trying to keep Judon.
Pernell McPhee, he's keeping the whole flock at bay. 18 pass block attempts, not even a hurry yet, as they're showing this Chiron right now. He's been locked down, which is one of the things we talked about too, as we got Membuke limping off the field too as well for the Ravens, and it looks like Derek Wolfe is walking on the field as well too. So Ravens don't have a whole lot of depth on the defensive line, so this one could hurt them.
Yeah, definitely. I talked about this defensive line need to get pressure. Unfortunately, you got to beat guys like Deion Dawkins, and if you're running on backups, I don't know how well it's going to work for you. But yeah, Deion Dawkins, man, if you guys are a fan of offensive line, and I do say young offensive line, he is going to be a fun one to watch. Him paired with Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs. That's a very good young core that you can build on for years.
And as it's 3rd down and 8 for the Bills, we're seeing a stat right now. 3rd down rushing from Josh Allen. 14 conversions, 3rd amongst quarterbacks too. And we talked a lot about them. They're probably two of the most prototypical dual threat quarterbacks as far as when you combine run and passing. And we'll see if Josh Allen will do that here for the 2nd rushing attempt as he takes the snap. And the Ravens getting some pressure, nowhere to go.
Oh, it's a fumble.
It looks like they're calling it a fumble. No one jumped on it besides Deion Dawkins, though. And Josh Allen looks to be a little dinged up. He's having a moment getting up. That is not good if you're the Bills. And it looks like it was Yannick Ngakoue and Matthew Judon that got in there. It looked like Josh Allen's trying to get it away, but all right, so Josh Allen is up and walking, so everything does seem to be all right for him. But that'll be 4th down for the Bills, and Matthew Judon, unfortunately, coming right around your boy Deion Dawkins on this one.
Yeah, he dropped the shoulder, dipped him with a fake inside move, and then you talk about pressure. You had him, you had what? Bowser, or who was that? 49?
49. I think that was the entire flock was in there. I couldn't see all their numbers. I'm sorry, guys. I messed that one up.
You had Judon on the side, you had Ngakoue, you had dude, that was a great rush. And Josh Allen, I hope you're all right.
And it looks like he's okay as the Bills get off the punt from a 4th and 20 at about midfield, and it will bounce into the end zone. So it will be a touchback. The Ravens will take over the ball. Real quick, Kelcey, you want to do a quick shout out to one of our sponsors real quick?
Yeah, definitely. So you've already heard us talk about Fubo TV. You've already heard us talk about the Original Craft Beer Club. Check those out, first of all, if you haven't. It's Linktree's in our description right here on the stream. But the other one we have to talk about, the OG sponsor for Unhinged Sports Network, Fanatics. If you need gear, so if you're watching this game, you're a Bills fan. If my Aunt Kathleen's watching, she's a giant Bills fan. She needs more Bills gear. She's getting Bills gear for her sons. Fanatics.com. The link is in our description. Go click it. Go get your brand new beer stuff, Bill stuff, beer stuff. That's
get them both.
Or maybe you're a Ravens fan. Go get your Ravens gear. Fanatics.com has been a great place for us, a great sponsor for us. Honestly, I love their gear. I get tons of gear, big and tall, small kids, adults, women, you name it. They have authentic. They have Fanatics branded. They have a lot of great choices out there. So be sure to check that out. The link is in our description. If you need any team, any jerseys, or if you're one of those Alabama fans, which still kind of makes me sick, you go get your national championship. You guys have to update everything every year. You win a championship, you change the number anyways. So go get your new gear.
And we talked about a lot too, is both quarterbacks. One thing they both haven't had to deal with a lot this year is a whole lot of pressure. And so far they've each gotten a sack. Lamar lost 11. Josh Allen lost 12 there too. Basically, when the offensive lines have held up for the majority of the season, the problem is when they get through, as athletic as these guys are, sometimes that gets them in a little bit of trouble too. We saw Josh Allen, Lamar's biggest plays of the day come off their legs. but sometimes it does get them kind of stuck there in the pocket. Not much Josh Allen could do on that one, per se. As soon as he's getting ready to throw the ball, Judon swings around the side.
Yeah, definitely. He was back. His arm was cocked, and it just tapped out. And that's a fantastic job by the guys rushing to get your hands on the ball or on his elbow, whichever you guys actually. They haven't showed us a replay, so we don't know exactly what hit him. But that's a fantastic job by the guys rushing. And Josh, there's nothing he can do about it. He hit the top of his chop. He's pumped, and then he went. And, that's just part of being a quarterback. You get caught in the back of your windup, and it just happens.
And you got to really wonder what's going through Brian DeBall's play calling right now. I mean, you haven't run the ball yet. You have one carry by Josh Allen, but everything else has been a pass. They haven't even attempted to pretend to set up the run at all. I mean, do you think he's starting to feel himself a little bit, or is it just something they saw on tape where they wanted to spread him out and let Josh Allen eat on the defense, basically?
Well, you look at this defense, you kind of have to question beyond their second corner. I mean, Marcus Peters, if he's matched up with Stephon Diggs, that's obviously something that you can take advantage of. And then on top of that, you talk Gabriel Davis, Cole Beasley, Isaiah McKenzie when he comes in, all dangerous third, fourth threats. So maybe that's what they see. Maybe they're trying to pick on their backup corners. But I'm not sure what's going on. Run the ball once or twice.
And the Ravens take over from the 20-yard line. Lamar fakes the handoff, surveys the field. There's pressure. Jerry Hughes gets in, and Jerry Hughes will bring him down. Lamar looked like he was just getting ready to try and find a lane, but Jerry Hughes was having none of it. So it'll be about 2nd and 15 for the Ravens, 2nd and 18. And right when we talked about sacks on cue, here comes Jerry Hughes and the Bills' defensive line.
Yeah, and actually, this is a fantastic job by Lamar to hold on to this ball. It looks like Jerry Hughes, when he makes contact, he actually tries to take the ball right out of his hand. And that's a great job working through a double team on that. He came from through a tight end, Ricard, and it looked like Fluker maybe in the inside. And, man, that's a fantastic job by Hughes just working through that double team.
And that'll back the Ravens up now to about their 10-yard line with some space to go. Trips formation at the top of the screen. Lamar will fake the handoff to Gus Edwards. And then he will take off. Jerry Hughes came upfield again. Lamar's out in the open space. He's got a lane. Here he goes. And it's about a 20-yard game, but, of course, there is some yellow on the field. So we'll see if this is on the defense or the offense. Lamar looks a little perturbed, so it might be coming back.
There's a holding on every play.
Yeah, but it looks like we got a holding. It looks like this one will be coming back. They're calling this one on Bowers, so that's a rough break, too. That's right as you get yourself out of the shadow of your own end zone. Yep, we see it here on the replay, holding right up the middle, and it's the guy that almost got Lamar. So, unfortunately, you can't let the jersey expand like that. So, it looks like the Ravens will have even longer to go now for second down from about their 5 1/4 inch yard line. Second down looks like about 26 yards to go. They got to dig into their playbook here to get out of the shadow of their own goalposts.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if they run the all hitches here again and just try to get something out after the run. But that play, as a lineman, you're taught engage. The moment he pulls apart, you either let go or you fall with him. He did neither. And
it looks like the Ravens will come out in a spread set, and the Bills are packing the box. Jordan Poyer, he jumps. Looks like we either got a false start or the Bills are saying false start. Nobody on the Ravens is pointing across, so it looks like we got 2nd and 20. Yep, 2nd and 28 now. So the Ravens are going the wrong way here, and this is not what you want to see after Mark Andrews jumped a little bit early.
Wow.
It looked like and we saw Jordan Poyer look like he was rolling down like he was about to come to from that side. Maybe they were trying to bring a little pressure off the backside while loading the front side.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looked like they were dropping pressure. Either that or he was going to drop off and run with that. Andrews, we didn't really get to see it there, but that's actually surprising because as a tight end, you have to watch the ball because you're too close to not just go off the snap. You have to go off when the center snaps it. And it's one of those crazy things you see.
And 2nd and 27 from basically at their own goal line at this point. And it looks like we got another false start. The Bills Mafia, the Mafia's cut down a little bit, but Philip Rivers and the Colts talked about it last week. It's weird having fans back in the stadiums, especially when you got these rowdy fans that have been waiting so long for these moments to have home playoff games. And it's affecting the Ravens now. The Ravens offensive line getting each other's ear. 2nd and about 30. I mean, you can't really get much farther back at this point.
Was that a hot wing hat? First of all, I need one of those. Secondly, 6.7 thousand Bills Mafia fans. And about half of those didn't make it to the stadium because they got too drunk and burned themselves on the tables outside. So about 3.5 thousand fans.
3.5 thousand sounds like 3.5 million. And the play clock winding way down, 3 seconds. The Ravens got to get this one off, and they will just barely. And there's a lot of congestion in the backfield. Lamar will dump it off to Picard, who will gain about seven or so yards, tackled by Tremaine Edmonds at about the 10-yard line. So at least an inch of breathing room for a casual 3rd and about 18 to go.
Yeah, it's something to watch for right here. Hey, they faked the pressure last time on a punt in this area, and he shanked the punt. Do they send pressure and hope for the same thing, or possibly even get there? Especially with how low scoring this game is.
Well, let's see. I mean, we do know Lamar Jackson has that X factor where he can get that first down at any moment too. I mean, 3rd and 18, that's just a casual scamper for Lamar. Like we saw it on that play that got called back for holding too. So never quite out of Tremaine Edmonds, been an absolute stud, leading the team with 120 tackles. We saw his range once again on that play, just racing out to the flats to tackle the tight end. 3rd and 18, Lamar will take the snap from about the 10-yard line, drops back to his own goal line, fire the ball over the middle. He's got him. He completed one to Marquise Brown. Micah Hyde broke in on it, tried to break it up, but got there just in time. So it looks like he will get it with his arm this time. I made the joke about his legs getting it, but Lamar Jackson showing off the touch and the arm strength to get it there to Marquise Brown over the middle. First down Ravens, and it looked like it was all doomed just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, definitely. This is looks like a dig route that he just found the hole. And Lamar, fantastic job with the touch on this one, right over the top of the front level, and just to get it right into Brown right there in the back. That was a fantastic job to hold on to that while Micah Hyde was crushing him.
And Lamar will hand it off to J.K. Dobbins off the left side. J.K. Dobbins finding a little bit of room, breaking a few tackles too, about a 13-yard gain. First down, the Ravens are cooking now at about midfield. And just going back to what a heck of a catch by Marquise Brown as Micah Hyde gets there simultaneously with the ball. Fantastic defensive play. Brown just with them sticky hands today.
Yeah, definitely. You look at this, and J.K. Dobbins right here on this run. Ricard clears out. I know Jimmy from the far end of the bench, if he's watching right now, he just enjoyed that block he laid on Tremaine Edmonds. And that just opened the hole for J.K. to cut back and just take on a bunch of corners.
And breaking through a Jordan Poyer tackle, too. So first down for the Ravens, about the 46-yard line. Fakes the handoff to J.K. Dobbins. Lamar's looking for some room. Great contained by Troy Murphy, giving Lamar nowhere to go for this whole Mafia to rally. Edmonds, Milano, and squad there. And the Bills, once again, holding the edge. So only a negative 3-yard play. So 2nd and 13.
Yeah, fantastic job. He never actually lost the edge. This is a great job against Lamar. I mean, Troy Murphy, yeah, he's athletic, but he's not Lamar athletic. And he kept the edge at all times. He had the angle. That is a fantastic job just to hold him up and let your reinforcements get. And really, he even made the tackle before they got there. So that's an even better job by Troy Murphy. Great job being disciplined and holding your gap.
Especially when you know tackling, and it looks like Lamar will take snap quickly. 2nd and 14. Lamar will get under pressure, tries to get it away, just underthrows Mark Andrews by a hair. He had him wide open, but the pressure got there a little bit too soon.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those moments for Lamar. You always question his mechanics, and you see it on this one. That pressure got to him, and he just dropped his arm and starts throwing it from the sidearm position and shorts it.
And it looks like Teron Johnson came here off the nickel blitz, too. Didn't even telegraph it either. He just watched the snap count and came across out wide, and the tackles weren't able to pick it up. And the pressure up the gut got to him, too, so he wasn't able to step into it. He had to fling that one with pure arm and wasn't quite able to get it to Andrews wide open on the boundary. So 3rd and 14 for the Ravens at about midfield, 44-yard line or so. And Willie Snead will come in motion. Play clock winding down again. 2-1. Lamar will get the snap off the Bills bringing heat. Teron Johnson again. He hits Lamar. And Lamar is unable to connect with his receivers, lands between a couple of guys. No Bills were quite able to get there, and Tremaine Edmonds having a couple words back there. Levi Wallace and Micah Hyde on the pass defense.
Yeah, that was a fantastic job getting there by the defense. And Lamar, man, again, not able to step into his throw, drops his throwing angle to the sidearm, and it just sells on him.
It's a clever blitz here, too, bringing both guys off of the running back side, too, so they're not able to chip with a bit of a man line in the background, too, as the Sam Coke will get off yet another punt. This one will go to about the 10-yard line. Roberts will return it. He makes a man miss, too. He's got a little bit of space, and then the Ravens will crowd him at about the 18-yard line, standing him up there. Everybody's holding on at this point, so couple of yards there, too. Not too bad, taking over from about the 18-yard line. Bills coming back on the field, about 3 minutes left in the half, and not the high-scoring game we anticipated. Defense has been the story, as well as basically sacks and pressure.
Yeah, definitely. You talk about this defense. These defenses, and both the keys for both defenses so far, they've been holding well. Making the tackles on the first guy, holding contained. That's all you can ask for, and bend but don't break.
Or in some cases, just completely break them as soon as you get a chance, too. If you enforce a couple losses early, force them in the 3rd and 15 and go after them. Yeah,
definitely. You talk about that blitz right there. You talk about the blitz that caused the fumble against Josh Allen. It was right after a loss of yards. So, that is a big thing to pay attention to going forward.
And it looks like the Bills will come out with a spread look again. 4 receivers, 1 running back. So it looks like rushing the ball might not be too high on their priority list this time. But we'll have to see if they've only run the ball 1 time, and it's Josh Allen scrambling on a pass play. Stacks at the top, stacks at the bottom for all the receivers too. Josh Allen will actually hand the ball off to Devin Singletary. We will see our first run of the game from a running back. and it will gain less than a full yard too. So it will be 2nd and 9 for the Ravens. Interesting, or 2nd and 9 for the Bills, excuse me. Ravens on the stop. So kind of interesting. They wait till so late in the half in arguably a 2.5, 3-minute drill to decide to run the ball.
It honestly reminds me of when I played Madden against the computer. I just want to run up the score in the first half, and then I realize I'm running up the score, and I'm like, crap, I got to run the ball.
Difference is they're not really running up the score here.
Yeah,
Don Martindale's brought a pretty good game plan so far, keeping the Bills from getting too loose.
It shocks me. I mean, to see an actual offense run this way, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I guess maybe you've been scared of your run game too.
And 2nd and 7, Josh Allen will fake the handoff to Devin Singletary this time, dump it over the middle of Dawson Knox really quickly, makes a man miss, gain of about 4 yards, so I'll set him up with a 3rd down and 3. Quick, easy pass play to get the Bills back on schedule. And does about 14 seconds till the 2-minute warning. It looks like they're going to try and get a playoff there, at least get into the line. Got to wonder if they're actually going to run a play or if they're trying to get him to jump.
Honestly, I think you run this down to the 1 second before 2-minute mark and then snap it.
And
I think you try to get them to jump and then you snap.
And it will hit the 2-minute mark without getting anyone quite able to jump yet. So when we come back, the Bills will have the ball 2 minutes ago, and they're driving at about their 28-ish yard line. Last 2 minutes of the half.
Yeah. And now, I mentioned going into that 2-minute warning, the joke about snapping it with 1 second. But, it's something that a lot of teams already know you're going to do is try to draw them off sides. Why not set a play up for the 1 second to go? Why not actually give that a shot? Big Ben, as much as I don't like the guy, he killed a team by coming up and faking a spike and throwing it over the top to AB. Something that was completely unexpected. And I feel like nowadays it's expected to try to get them to jump off sides, but not expected to go over the top, to run a play fake, right?
Exactly. And if you're Josh Allen, too, it gives you a little bit of time. I mean, you're 11 of 18. You guys haven't run the ball too well. 2 for 7, not a whole lot of yards, too. And one of those was, as we had mentioned, Josh Allen running on a pass play. So gives the coaches time to speak with them as well, too. So let's see if they want to establish the run game when they get back or if they're going to continue to let Josh Allen air it out as well, too. Because do you want to give the Ravens the ball back with any time left as well, too? They only have the one timeout. So let's say they stop him here. They're probably going to have to use that timeout and go down the field with none of them because they used 2 of them early in the first quarter.
Yeah, but it's the playoffs, man. You gotta do something. This game is a 3-0 game. If you're the Bills, you got to be considering this might be too close for comfort and trying to do anything. Really, I mean, I'm not going to say go for it on 4th down yet.
Not from this point in the field. I mean, even with the rough kicking game, this is all but a chip shot, guaranteed 3 points as long as you don't go backwards by 15 yards.
Give me 10 yards and I consider it.
Well, now you're just being greedy. But anyway, we'll be right back here in just a little bit. And welcome back to the High Low Sports broadcast of this Bills-Ravens and AFC divisional playoff game. And so far, we got 3rd and 3 for the Buffalo Bills, about the 25-yard line. It's been a defensive-heavy game so far, and Josh Allen will take over. Only 2 rush attempts for the Bills so far. Looks like the Ravens are in a man line. They will rush forward. Josh Allen surveys, quickly finds his man Stephon Diggs underneath to Jimmy Smith, and he will break the tackle from Jimmy Smith. Devin Singletary out in front. Stephon Diggs turning a 10-yard gain to about a 20-yard gain, setting him up at the 45-yard line. And the Bills are on the move. It looks like they're going to run this no huddle.
Literally, out of the 3 corners you could possibly get matched up with the Ravens, if you're Stephon Diggs and you see Jimmy across you, you are excited.
Even though all 3 are quality corners, they're all NFL corners. Quick little stop route. He's the least known of the 3 corners. And now Josh Allen, 1st and 10, takes the snap from a spread look. Top of the field, just misses Cole Beasley along the sideline. A little bit too wide for him. 2nd and 10. And it looks like that's not too bad of a play. You're stopping the clock on 1st down, gives them a chance to get going. They still have all 3 timeouts in about 84 seconds until half, too. So if they can get something going and get, I would say field goal range, but the way this game's going, field goal range might not be enough. You might have to get in the end zone at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And they show Cole Beasley's season, and he had set records in both receptions and yards for himself. But yeah, dude, that's a great play for that first down. Either he drops it or he goes out of bounds after 2 yards. So great job stopping the clock right there.
2nd and 10, about the 44-yard line. Ravens showing heat, but dropping out of it. 3-man rush. Quick dump off to John Brown in the flats. John Brown will scamper ahead for about a 5-yard gain. So 3rd and 5 ahead for the Bills at midfield. And once again, just an extension of the run play, throwing it maybe 5 yards wide or so, not too far, just to get the ball out of your hands quick and get your guys out in space.
Yeah, definitely. You know, this is one of those things. I feel like this is kind of like the Oregon offenses of old. You know, you use these quick screens, these whatever you want to call them, tunnel screens, smoke screens. You use them as an extension of the run game at the end of the day, and this will help offset the fact you can't run it really up the middle of this team.
Exactly. And right now, Stephon Diggs coming in motion, 3rd and 4 from midfield, playing off deep off Stephon Diggs while everyone has a man lined up across from him. Ravens showing heat again, all the men on the line. Josh Allen doesn't like what he sees as the play clock winds down. He will use one of their first timeouts. About 80 seconds left to go in the half, 3rd and 4. Bills still kind of marching about midfield. They've had a couple good plays. Question is, can the Ravens stop them from getting loose? And even if the Bills do get down the field, do they attempt a field goal with having a 1-for-1 field goal attempt and seeing Justin Tucker of all people miss 2 of them?
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I'm curious to see what Josh saw right here. I wonder what the play was. With Jimmy sitting off of Stephon Diggs, it makes me curious. He was going to run deep and everybody else is running hitches. And that was kind of the game plan. And they just defensively set up perfectly against that. They had, 6 in the box right on the line. So a little bit of pressure coming at you. A 0 blitz, it looked like. But yeah, no, if you're the Bills, what do you do if you get field goal territory? For me, I still trust Bass. He's been kicking in Buffalo all season. I trust him to still kick it, put it in, but it is something that might cross their mind.
I think if you get in range, you can't risk leaving points on the board. So the Bills will come back out, 3rd and 4 once again from midfield. Man a line look, cover 0 look, 4-man pressure. They'll drop back in coverage. He will zing it just a little bit too high for Cole Beasley. Ravens defense holds. Josh Allen looking at the sideline. Looks like they're considering going for it. 4th and 4 midfield. I mean, you've done a good job holding on to, and they're staying on the field. It looks like the Bills are going to give it a shot.
Looks like there was no doubt in Josh Allen's mind right there.
As Calais Campbell tips the ball with his helmet as we look at the replay, with, I guess being 6'8", no matter how high of a release you have for Josh Allen, when trying to throw over a 6'8" jumping Calais Campbell, good luck.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how tall you are, Josh. You're throwing that you have to throw that about 10 feet high just to even get it over his head.
You got a Tim Tebow jump past that one. So, and it looks like they are going to go for it. They're going to come out in a three wide set, 1 tight end, 1 running back, midfield. Stephon Diggs at the bottom of the screen. Devin Singletary to Josh Allen's right. Cole Beasley in the slot at the top. 5 seconds left to play clock. Stephon Diggs will come into motion. Josh Allen will not snap the ball. It looks like they were just trying to draw him off sides. They will come to the sideline now. It looks like they will go for the punt. So, once again, just trying to see if you can steal some cheap yards. It worked for you last week in almost this exact same situation. So, why not? You have nothing to lose. You can't take your timeouts with you to the second half.
Yeah, the biggest difference, though, let's be honest, Kamiko Toure versus Yannick Ngakoue on those edges, that was the big cost last week. Toure jumping off, whereas Ngakoue a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more of a professional defense end, if you will.
And we see now some of the flags in Buffalo. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit, too, so that might have played in their decision as well, too. Might as well just try and pin the Ravens down, make them drive the field on you. Devin Duvernay back to return as well. And you've done a good job pinning them down, too. I mean, for midfield, it doesn't take too much to pin them at this point.
But Bjorquez is one of the better punters that's not even talked about, mostly because I don't think many people can pronounce his last name.
And because you don't punt very often when you're the Bills punter. I mean, that's kind of like being the Packers kicker. You just don't kick a lot of field goals. He doesn't punt the ball a lot, I mean.
Yeah, I want to know. We saw J.K. Scott's numbers versus Aaron Rodgers' touchdowns. I wonder what Bjorquez's numbers is, because it's got to be something close.
And it will die at about the 26-yard line. So, it looks like the Ravens will take over with about 63 seconds left, 1 timeout, about 80 yards to go if they want to get 75 yards to go if they want to get in the end zone. But if you want to try the field goal, Justin Tucker, you're pretty much already in field goal range at this point, depending on how much this wind would affect his shot.
Yeah, literally, just give him a chance, put it up in the air, let's see what happens.
And we talked a lot about Stephon Diggs coming into this game, rightfully so. With his 4 catches for 60 yards on the day, he's made his presence known. But another guy who's been seen a lot of is John Brown, 6 catches for 54 yards off 7 targets. He's been he's been the go-to guy for Josh Allen when they've been looking at Stephon Diggs. They've been eyeing him a lot for obvious reasons. John Brown's been his secondary guy that you wanted to see step up those quote-unquote role players, as you call them.
Absolutely, yeah. No, normally I wouldn't include John Brown, but today, in this circumstances, he is a role player, and he definitely is one of those guys I highlighted before the game, and he is stepping up. He has not dropped anything. He had one of the better catches right there on that scramble where Josh Allen just fitted into a 6-inch gap. I still don't get. Man, he's stepped up. He's kind of stepping into that role that Buffalo always wanted him to step into, and he hadn't stepped into yet.
The injury definitely didn't help him too down the stretch.
Yeah. His injury problems have definitely set him back some, but I think this Brown we're seeing, this is the guy we always wanted to be that number 2 guy in Detroit or in Buffalo. And with Stephon Diggs being Stephon Diggs, let's be honest, you have all the room in the world to work on the backside.
And it's been those two guys as a 1-2 punch. Out of Josh Allen's 120 passing yards, 113 of them have gone to Brown and Diggs, with 3 to Singletary and 4 to Dawson Knox. So he's been that number 2 guy, even though he's had more targets and basically 50-50 of the yards too. So it's basically, where's Stephon Diggs? Where's John Brown? If not, Josh Allen scramble. They've had a really simple game plan, if you will, so far, and it hasn't resulted in a lot of points yet. But those two have showed up. They're going to, if they want to get moving on offense a little more, they're going to see a little bit more from Davis, the Singletaries, the Knox, the Beasleys, and probably just try running the ball, honestly. I mean, we haven't seen any of it.
Maybe a second run in the half.
Well, let's not get too crazy now.
Sorry, a third run in the half.
There we go. And if you're the Ravens, I mean, almost all of your pass yards, almost half of them on that one scramble play to J.K. Dobbins, and then another 21 yards, 21 to Marquise Brown on that long third down play. So 52 of your 75 yards on those 2 plays. They got to get a little something going. I mean, they've basically found themselves in 3rd and 10 or so, and either they complete the pass for the first down or nothing. Other than that, the passing game has been virtually non-existent.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they've got to figure something out.
And right now, the Ravens will take over. About 63 seconds left in the half. 26-yard line. Lamar takes the snap, drops back to pass, fires it over to the middle of Mark Andrews for about an 8-yard gain, and the Ravens are now on the move. Bills playing back a little bit, not letting the Ravens get anything too cheap or too deep, but let them dink and dunk underneath, and that's what we want to see them do. Is Lamar will get them to the line quickly, takes the snap, bunch formation at the bottom. Lamar scrambles to the bottom of the screen. He'll unload it backside. He's got a wide open man. It's Marquise Brown over the middle. He's getting loose. Levi Wallace gets him down at about the 35-yard line. They're now in Bills territory. They're rolling now.
Yeah, that was a fantastic job by Brown to come back to that ball. Lamar actually let that go, and it was a really big duck coming out. It was just wobbling the whole way. They tell you don't throw across your body, but with what Patty Mahomes and guys like Lamar started doing, it's like, well, maybe if you're feeling it, go ahead and try. As we're looking at the replay, Marquise Brown just running that deep post against that two safety shell. And it honestly, being a duck made it easier, because if he throws it farther, Trey White probably can make a play on it. So a duck that worked out, if you will. Yeah, definitely. It definitely worked out in the favor of the Ravens, but Marquise Brown, fantastic job. You talk about this guy coming out of the draft. You look at how many times he's been thrown to compared to how high he was taken. You're kind of like, oh man, you're not being used. He's being used perfectly for this offense, and he's accepted his role. Especially after what he did last week against the Titans. And the Ravens used their last time out, so they will take the ball 1st and 10. Finds Mark Andrews on the sideline about the Bills' 30-yard line. Matt Milano will ride him out. And it looks like they're going to say he was out of bounds too, so the clock will stop there. Yeah, definitely. I don't know about using that timeout that early, but I get it, because you don't want to lose too much time right there trying to get everybody to the line. But it definitely tells you the Ravens are going for a touchdown on this. Exactly. You can't really get time back, but you can find unique ways to stop the clock, as they always say too. And Lamar again going a little bit. Right after we pointed out the passing stats, he's now up to 118 yards. He's got going these last few plays, finding Mark Andrews in that big play to Marquise Brown. 2nd and 5 from the 30. Lamar takes a snap. Looking downfield, he'll look to scramble. Tries to dump it off the Boykin as Jerry Hughes gets a hold of him, but unable to complete that pass too. 3rd and 5 now. Lamar's looking frustrated at Boykin right now as well too. Yeah, it looks like he just wanted him to sit in the gap, and he just kept going to the corner. You see him under pressure. You got to just be smarter than that if you're Boykin. You just got to stop. You can't just keep fading away from him. And yeah, you see Lamar. He dodges pressure, runs into Jerry Hughes, and throws it. It looks like really he was just trying to be a throwaway at the end of the day. Whether he caught it or not, it wouldn't have mattered. Either way, he probably wasn't getting out of bounds there, because he had a corner on the outside of him. So 3rd and 5 from the 30-yard line now, and the Bills are playing way off, and they will hand it to J.K. Dobbins off the bottom end. J.K. with a little bit of room. Tremaine Edmonds bringing him down after the first down for a gain of about 8, but the clock is rolling. About the 22-yard line, the Ravens got to get on and spike it, or get on and go for something. 15 seconds, clock's winding down. Lamar will spike it, about 13 seconds left in the half. 22-yard line, the Bills looking to operate. Do you bring out Justin Tucker to kick this one, or do you try and get a little bit closer? Honestly, right now, 13 seconds left. Look, you got receivers for a reason. You got Mark Andrews for a reason. I run Mark Andrews a seam route into the end zone, maybe a post into the end zone. Marquise Brown, probably run him on a deep crosser into the end zone. Maybe roll Lamar out to that side, so go to the right, and just give him a chance. And, that'll give you about 6, maybe 5 seconds left on the clock to kick a field goal.
And they're coming out with a Trey look at the bottom of the screen, and it looks like the Bills will now take a timeout too, because they got to be thinking in the back of their head, we will not give up something cheap at the end of the half or at the end of a game. Not after the Cardinals game earlier in the season. They got to be thinking absolutely nothing in the end zone.
Yeah, definitely. If on the Bills, it's been twice this season. Twice they've given up a deep ball to a team. Once that beat them, and once that, almost beat them.
Once that was definitely a little bit annoying for them too to see it given up. So right now, this is where the Ravens, they want to see if they can just get a little bit closer, make it as easy for Justin Tucker as possible. But you can't hold the ball if you're Lamar, and you really can't run if you're Lamar. You got to stop the clock in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, if you run the ball and you're Lamar, you need to get as many yards as you can out of bounds.
With 13 seconds left, Lamar does have the speed to gain 10 yards vertically and 10 yards laterally, get out of bounds real quickly, but you almost have to shoot straight for the sideline if you're anyone on the Ravens. If you get the ball away from the sideline, you got a gun out. And it looks like they're going to come out with a 3 receiver, 1 tight end, 1 running back look too. They'll have Boykin, Marquise Brown, and Willie Snead, and with J.K. Dobbins in the background joining. The Bills playing way off. Lamar draws back to pass. He floats one, just gets it over to Boykin for about a gain of 4. Steps out of bounds, about a 5-second play, 8 seconds left on the clock. That one, I wasn't sure if it's going to get there. That one looked like it came out a little bit off.
Yeah, I don't know if he meant to throw that, honestly.
Well, Justin Tucker will come out for this field goal, and 3rd and 5, I mean, you kind of have to kick it this one, but this is his first game in his career with 2 or more misses under 50 yards. This has not been a strong game for him as well.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Justin Tucker today. I don't know, man. This is crazy to see. If he misses this one, I might lose my mind.
It's definitely going to draw some questions if you can kick a field goal later in the game, but it is still Justin Tucker. It's one of the best kickers we've seen in the history of the game. 34-yard attempt, not too much more than an extra point at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this should be a pretty easy one to take home. But they're out here reviewing, actually, whether Boykin kept his feet in, and it looks like he very clearly did.
I see what they're looking at, though. That right foot did come up. I thought he had possession as well, too, but, everything's basically reviewed. Just got to double-check as well, too. Better safe than sorry, and that's close because the right foot does come up around the time the ball gets there, but I don't think there's enough to overturn this necessarily.
Yeah, I think this is going to stand. We saw this last week as well. Actually, in this Bills-Colts game, the same type of thing, where his foot possibly came up at the same time, but there wasn't enough evidence. I hate to keep bringing up the Colts. I
feel like you just kind of got to stick with whatever the play call on the field is in that sort of point, too. No need to necessarily change a play when there's no conclusive evidence.
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell how much you hate talking about the Colts.
I mean, that's last week. I'm just trying to focus on this game right now, too. As we see a really up-close look, and a guy's head is right in the way of that right foot, so you can't fully see anything, but not a whole lot you can overturn there at that point.
If you're the Ravens, you give that guy a pay raise because he might have actually lit that foot up too soon.
Well, we won't know now, and the officials say it will stand, so we will see Justin Tucker come out here with a 34-yard field goal attempt, 8 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got to hit this, if nothing else, just for his own confidence.
We can see the flags on the goalpost and the goalposts themselves wiggling a little bit, so there is some wind there. He's going to have to work around, but this is right inside his range. Doesn't look like it's anything he hasn't dealt with before as well, too.
Yeah, wind going to his right, so all he has to do is just follow through his motion and it's right in.
And it looks like that one, it looked like it was going out wide, but it did stay in. So it'll be 3-3 going in at half, 4 seconds left. Unless we see a wild kick return here, it looks like we'll have a tie game at halftime.
Yeah, don't expect much. I expect a little pooch kick coming here. But yeah, good job by Justin Tucker. Just trust your mechanics, and it'll work out for you. But that was a lot closer than I think he was comfortable with. Yeah,
the wind looks like it might have pushed that one early, but all that matters is it goes in. So right now, the Ravens getting on the board after leaving some points on early, and same with the Bills. Both teams are probably kicking themselves because they left a fair amount of points on the board. As the wind is picking up now, you see the goalpost rattling quite a bit too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that might come into play later, considering we've had another 9 points off the board at this point in time because of kicking. So don't be surprised if this comes into play later on as well, where we talk about the wind and this swirling wind in the end zones. It could definitely run these kickers' emotions high.
Exactly. They just got to keep mastering their craft. And speaking of craft, we'd like to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, the Original Craft Beer Club. Always free shipping up to 3 bonus gifts. The finest craft beers from America's best microbreweries. Check our link tree as well and all of our social media pages for a link on where you can get some of this craft beer. And Justin Tucker will kick this one off. towards the corner, and it looks like it will be a touchback as well. So the Bills will come out and have to expect they're probably just going to kneel this one out and go into the half.
Yeah, I don't expect much out of this one. If they do anything, it would probably just be a run. We might actually get to see our third run this half. I could only hope as much.
Does a kneel down count as a run? Because I feel like if they kneel, then you could just go, we'll count that as a run.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we should just start counting as a run just for statistics purposes.
Definitely an interesting game to see some of the more high-scoring teams as Josh Allen will kneel it out. So we'll go into this game, into the half of this game, tied 3-3. Interesting to see both such high-scoring offenses not be able to get loose, nobody able to find the end zone.
Yeah, definitely. This is, I mean, if you had told me before the game that this game is going to 3-3 at half, I'd be shocked.
And nobody's even gotten in a goal situation either, too. The closest we got was when I think it was the Bills had 1st and 10 with the first down at the 1 yard line, I believe it was. So they haven't even technically gotten in a goal situation. So really strong, stifling defense against two explosive offenses. We are curious to see what kind of halftime adjustments come out. And if it changes things, if we see an absolutely explosive second half, or this will be a game of attrition.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what's about to happen. If you're Sean McDermott, though, I think you're pretty happy. Your offense, you haven't gotten into a goal-to-go situation yet, but you have shown you can move the ball without running the ball. So maybe come out, put a little initiative in running the ball first, and work off of that. Set up those play-action passes that you're still running without actually running the ball. So, that's the kind of the goal. And then on top of that, if you're the Ravens, I mean, honestly, it's kind of the same thing. Go back to what you started the game with. Run it up the middle, your whams, your traps, a little bit of a counter. Stop trying to get Lamar in passing situations. It's a 3-3 ball game. Run the ball.
And so far, run the ball is one thing they'll need to do more effectively in the second half. They got 18 carries for 77 yards, just a little over 4 yards a carry. J.K. Dobbins leading the way for them, 5 carries for 31 yards. Also, their leading receiver with 1 catch for 31 yards as well, too. So they definitely want, actually, Marquise Brown with 2 catches for 51 yards. So 31 yards per catch for J.K. Dobbins as well. And then for the Bills, it's pretty much as we've stated earlier. John Brown leading the way with 6 catches with 54 yards, and Stephon Diggs with 4 catches and 59 yards. And running the ball, well, not so much for the Bills. 1 carry for Devin Singletary. 1.5 carries for Josh Allen, since that kneel down does count as a run. So 3 carries for 6 yards is how the final stat line is looking for the Bills rushing in right now. We'll have to see if they carry the ball, if they hand the ball off a little more in the second half. So we'll be right back in a little bit with a halftime check-in after this quick little break. And welcome to the Halftime Report, brought to you by the High Low Sports Podcast and one of our sponsors, of course, Dr. Squatch, the organic soap. Feel like a man, smell like a champion, better smell and better skin without all the harsh chemicals. And Kelcey, what was the big thing you took away from this first half of divisional round football?
Definitely something I was not prepared for. Missed kicks being so influential in this game. Justin Tucker, Tyler Bass, two of the most accurate kickers. I will literally die on this hill right now. For the last couple of seasons, since Tyler Bass has entered the league, these two have been on top of the boards for accuracy. And here they are. Doink, doink, wide right, 6 feet.
We got a doink, we got a donk, we got a dink. It's gone we've had more go out than go in, basically, at this point. It has not been a pretty day for kicking. It hasn't been too bad weather-wise. The wind rattling here and there, but not too bad. Not like basically a Chicago midway winter game, nothing like that.
It's not gusty. It's these are sustained winds. So it's a little different if it was gusty. Obviously, the gust can push a ball a good 10 yards. But sustained wind is something you account into your kicks.
Exactly. That's the type of thing. And we will recap one of the earlier games from today, too, as the Rams and the Packers went head-to-head. Number one offense versus number one defense. Aaron Donald a little bit limited, but I don't know how much it mattered this game because the Packers were, honestly, for the most part, they had a lot of their stuff rolling. Aaron Jones got in the game. Alan Lazard breaking away. Devontae Adams getting in the end zone, even with Jalen Ramsey on him. That was a pretty solid match between the top-rated offense and top-rated defense. But once again, that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, proving why, in my opinion, he's been the MVP of the league so far this year.
Yeah, definitely. He proved under no uncertain terms can anybody match his arm talent. I mean, look, you go up against that defense, Jalen Ramsey especially. He has been fantastic this season. I talk a lot of crap about Jalen Ramsey. And up until this season, I've had a pretty good right to. You talk that much crap, you better be number one or number two. This season, well, he was number two. So good job, Jalen. But in this game, honestly, man, this was a showcase really for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Jones also, he did step up in this game as well, breaking off a huge run to start the second half, right?
Yeah, 60-yard scamper on I think their first or second play of the half.
So yeah, you look at this and you talk about Lazard. He had a big drop. He made up for it almost immediately the following drive, catching this basically the same route, opposite side, walking away for a touchdown.
Easily, too. So they will move on to face the winner of tomorrow's game, which we will be on the call for Colorcast as well, joining with Frothy Beard Gaming, one of our fellow football pickies on our podcast pretty regularly. Our frequent listeners will know him as well as Brendan. But we'll be doing the Saints and the Buccaneers game and see who will be facing off in Green Bay against those Packers. Will it be the Saints and Drew Brees, or will it be Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in this rubber match of sorts between these two teams?
Yeah, definitely. This will be the matchup of the Ageless Wonders. History Channel should be covering this one. Forget Nickelodeon. We should be straight on History Channel.
AMC has entered the chat. They're ready to go.
Yeah, maybe bring out the Hallmark Channel. This is crazy. I mean, two guys over 40. We're looking today, two guys that are 24. And then tomorrow we have two guys over the age of 40. Age up until really Brett Favre broke it, that was unheard of for quarterbacks. You really never saw a guy age out above 40. I mean, really they aged out 38, 39. But you saw Brett Favre do it, Peyton Manning. Now you see it again with Tom Brady and Drew Brees. And it's fascinating to watch. I know that game tomorrow, man. It means a lot for Drew Brees, but losing 3 in a row would mean way worse things for Tom Brady. So I think at the end of the day, that's what it's going to come down to. Will Tom Brady will his team to a victory? They did not show well in their last showing. 38-3 was the final score. I think this one purely comes down to Tom Brady just having the will of a possible GOAT in the NFL versus Cam Jordan, this defense. Can they sustain the success they've had all year? Because if they can, then Tom Brady will or not, they have a great shot in New Orleans.
So tune into that game tomorrow as well, where we'll be on the call, probably on here as well, but definitely on Colorcast as well. So be sure to download that if you have an iOS. And, of course, the other game as well, too, tomorrow, the Chiefs and the Browns. The Browns coming off an emotional win over their rival Steelers, beating them for the second time in 2 weeks. And then the Chiefs, who haven't really played in like 5 weeks, honestly, because the last couple of weeks they've been coasting, and they haven't really had to try very hard. So that'll be interesting to see if they can get going and if the Browns can ride that momentum as well. And the second half is underway, so we'll jump back into the game. And Roberts will field the ball from about the 10-yard line. A little bit of space. He makes a man miss, and he's actually out in space. He's at the 30. Elliott rides him out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. So That's showing why he's an all-pro, sliding across the Ravens bench there as well, too. Almost taking a guy out with him. So that's why he's the all-pro returner, making from a corner right kick, running out to the left side and getting to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to go for a nice little slide. And we're looking here at the bottom line. We don't have the volume on because obviously we wouldn't be able to talk to you guys if we did. But they actually talk about Sean McDermott said that the wind actually is gusting. So that is affecting some of the passing game. I did not realize that from the flags they've showed. It seemed pretty sustained, and all the weather reports they've showed, it said sustained. But if the coaches are saying gusting.
And it looks like it has picked up here in the second half as they showed a few of the flags as well, too, whipping around in different areas. And Harbaugh even saying it's affecting the snap a little bit, which would make sense as the Bills will take over now from the 34-yard line. Josh Allen under center with Dawson Knox in the backfield along with Devin Singletary. And we see a handoff to Devin Singletary off the left side, makes a man miss, cuts back, runs a man over for about a 9-yard gain, gets the ball out to the 43-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 1 for the Bills. What do you know? They ran the ball on their first play out of the half. I'm honestly a little surprised. I expected them to air it out again.
One run in the second half, and you already almost doubled your output in the first half. That's a fascinating thing. That was a beautiful outside zone. He broke cut back one, and then broke one tackle, and then just ran over the safety. Fantastic job by Devin Singletary. Just keep his legs moving. And
2nd and 1, Josh Allen will take the snap, and he will hand it off to Devin Singletary again out of the shotgun. A bit of a mess, and the Ravens will not let anything happen this time for a loss of 2. Fool them once, shame on you. Fool them twice, lose 2 yards. The whole Ravens defense, starting with Pernell McPhee and Chuck Clark in the backfield on that one.
Yeah, Pernell McPhee blew up his blocker. He absolutely pushed him in the backfield. Devin Singletary had to do a jump stop just to dodge his dodge his own lineman that McPhee was pushing, and he went right into McPhee's arms just to make it a quick, easy tackle. Great job. Honestly, great job by McPhee to blow up a guy like that. That's not easy.
3rd and 2, the Ravens lining up, showing pressure. Marlon Humphrey now in the slot over Cole Beasley. Josh Allen the shotgun, and a fake handoff, a quick float to the flat to Dawson Knox, completely uncovered. They forgot to follow him. He will scamper for about 12 yards too. So first down Bills. Look like everybody kind of sold out on the run there, and they were able to just do a quick RPO flip out to the flats. Nobody chased Dawson Knox.
I don't know about a flip. That looked more like a Steph Curry floater out there, man. He just floated over the top of a jumping defender. Dude looked like 6'10", maybe. I don't know who it was. He actually threw it over.
LJ Ford, it looks like a little Chris Paul floater, prime Chris Paul on the lane. So 1st and 10 for the Bills, about the 44-yard line. Ravens territory again. Josh Allen making checks at the line, taking the ball from under center, and he will fake the handoff this time, and he will get sacked. All right, I couldn't tell there for a second, but Pernell McPhee will shed his block and get there. Matthew Judon applying pressure early. Loss of 5 there, so 2nd down and 15. The run game gets started going early, but the play action, the Ravens front line still wasn't fooled by it.
This is a really interesting play. I don't know really what was supposed to happen here. There were linemen downfield, both the pulling guard and there's a tackle downfield as well. I don't know if it was supposed to be a screen or a quarterback draw, but whatever it was a terrible call. And it looks like it was a screen with TJ Yeldon set up where he was. But that was just not the time for that. I mean, they put a guard pulling, and then he was end up downfield without blocking anybody, and the tackle never even touched anyone.
2nd and 16 from the 50-yard line. Josh Allen draws back. He will float this one over the middle. He will find his man, Stephon Diggs, who gets loose and gets the first down with an extra 5 yards after the catch. When in doubt, find Stephon Diggs. That one they sent him in motion before the snap, got him a clean release, and he absolutely toasted his man. There was nobody there to really guard him.
Yeah, definitely. You look at that motion beforehand, kind of got Williams off his head. He wasn't able to keep the same coverage style. But you look at Josh Allen, man. He had no step into this, and we talk about how he's gotten his accuracy improved. He's doing it on these weird little jump steps, like the sidestepping jump throw that he was always doing, but they're more accurate this season.
The off angle, he's able to twist his shoulders and utilize them more. So 1st and 10, 30-yard line. Josh Allen under center again. We didn't see him much under center in the first half. We've seen him basically only under center so far. Play clock hit 0. Josh Allen will get the snap off. Stretch play to Devin Singletary at the top of the screen. Cuts back in, breaks a tackle from Patrick Queen, still churning the legs. A couple offensive linemen getting into the push there for a gain of 13. And the Bills are rolling now. Their offensive linemen are feeling it. They're yelling. They're screaming. They're feeling this. They like this.
Rightfully so. This number 76 for the Bills, he's been that pulling guard on that screenplay as well. But he also cleared out the way on the first run. And it looks like I can't see his
Felicio,
name.
It looks like, or Felicio.
Oh, Feliciano. Yeah.
Feliciano.
All the right in the world to be pumped about that. That is a fantastic run play for a team that hasn't run the ball all game. And all of a sudden you have 2 runs for triple your output from the first half.
Exactly. Now, 1st and 10, the Bills will take the ball coming out in a bunch set out of the shotgun. They will fake the handoff this time, and Josh Allen will keep it. Bowser will unable to keep contained, and Elliott with almost a late hit out of bounds right along the sideline, but still a gain of 8. Josh Allen held on to that one, and he kind of just took the edge from Bowser. Bowser still didn't really bite. Josh Allen just kind of out-athletics him to the corner.
Yeah, I honestly wonder if Bowser maybe scooted too close to the mesh point in this one. Josh Allen rode Singletary as long as he possibly could, and it looks like just once he pulled it, he said, "Forget you, I'm done. I got this corner." We talk about how athletic he is. People underestimate exactly how fast he is, and you're exactly right. He took the corner from a linebacker who was doing exactly what he's supposed to.
And 2nd and 4 from the 13-yard line. Bills coming in out of the shotgun. Josh Allen will take the snap. He's looking to the top of the screen, fires a slant route low to Stephon Diggs. It almost got his man ran into the safety on that one. Probably a good thing it wasn't too much higher.
Yeah, good job by Stephon Diggs to be a heads up right there and kind of protect yourself on that one. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to very often give a receiver credit for protecting themselves in those situations because that's your job. But that was a terrible throw, Josh.
That one was almost a throwaway. It looked like it was a throwaway with the chance that Stephon Diggs, being the receiver he is, makes a play on it. But at the same time, Josh Allen threw that in a way where his guy wasn't going to get killed. So
that was very much a Kirk Cousins throw. I'll say it.
All right. Well, anyway, 3rd down and 4 from the 13-yard line. Devin Singletary coming in motion, empty backfield. Josh Allen surveying the field, fires to the flats. He finds Devin Singletary, gets a block, cuts back inside. It'll be a 1st down to about the 3-yard line. 1st and goal for the Bills. They're finally in goal territory in the first drive of the second half. 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Still a 3-3 ball game. And this is the Bills offense we kind of expected to see, with a mix of run and pass, these quick options, getting Stephon loose, getting Singletary in the passing game.
Yeah, they brought Singletary in motion before that play, brought him inside of the stack on the right, and he just had a quick flare out. And it one-on-one, they're playing soft coverage for the Ravens for some reason on 3rd and short, and Singletary made him pay. And honestly, he almost had a chance to get to the end zone, but Patrick Queen came in and made a great tackle.
And on 1st and goal, they will pump fake the screen to Isaiah McKenzie and try to go to Gabriel Davis on slant. Nothing there. The Ravens defense held strong. Clever play call. They're taking off Stephon Diggs, taking off John Brown, trying to fake the trick play to Isaiah McKenzie. A strong pump fake there from Josh Allen. But it looks like Marlon Humphrey just stuck Gabriel Davis, gave him nowhere to move. Took away that slant play in the end zone again as well, too. Calais Campbell coming in the backfield as well.
Honestly, I think that was a little bit of a no-look pass there from Josh Allen. It looked like he completely threw it and then looked. But yeah, honestly, if that's any other corner than Marlon Humphrey, I think you complete that. If that was Jimmy Smith covering him, I think he completes that pretty easily. 2nd and goal this time. They have a bunch set. Quick screen to Stephon Diggs, and they have the numbers. Stephon Diggs will punch in the end zone and spike it with authority. That when you have 3-on-2, you basically just want to get into your playmaker's hands immediately. You could tell before snap. Josh Allen was looking. He was just waiting for the ref to get out of the way so he could throw that one. He was ready. Exactly. And they kept the same two up there. They kept Isaiah McKenzie and Gabriel Davis versus Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey, and they just stacked on top of them with Stephon Diggs. Oh, it looks like actually they threw John Brown out there. And Gabriel Davis, a big-bodied man. John Brown, basically a guy who plays big too, seals the edge, and then pulling offensive linemen weren't even needed. Stephon Diggs just got that ball and charged into the end zone. Josh Allen throwing that quickly. I don't know if that was a design screen or if it was an RPO, but either way, you like what you see when you got numbers, and that'll be the first touchdown of the game. Bills take a 9-3 lead with the point attempt underway, and this one will be good. So a 10-3 lead by the Bills, 9.5 minutes left in the third quarter. First touchdown of the game. Yeah, if that play call, if that is something they saw at the line, great read by both Josh Allen and getting the communication out to Stephon Diggs. Whether or not that was a hand signal or what, I don't know, but that is a fantastic job getting that first touchdown. And, honestly, if you're Jimmy Smith, you got to do better, man. You got blocked by John Brown on a simple route. Like, you got to do better, man. Either way, Stephon Diggs was not being denied on that one, so we see a little bit of a change in a halftime adjustment from the Bills offense. We talked about it during our halftime show. We just want to see if they could diversify the offense just a little bit more. I mean, we understand you can spread it out and go with Josh Allen everywhere, but featuring the run game, especially with these picking up wins as well, too. You're not going to be able to throw the ball 40 yards downfield quite as accurately as you would if it was a clear day. So mixing in Devin Singletary underneath in these quick run plays have really opened things up even more so. You saw in that one, the Ravens had a lot more people in the box. They weren't able to really spread out because they were scared about the run there. They were scared Josh Allen would take off. Yeah, definitely. And, you talk about those run plays. Both of their big gaining run plays, outside zones to the left side, right behind Deion Dawkins, or stretches to the outside if you want to call them a stretch. I feel like every blocking scheme nowadays is a zone blocking scheme, so they all kind of run it the same. But, yeah, you're all behind Deion Dawkins on that left side. clearing out, pulling a guard behind him. It's big man football right there, and that is exactly what you want to see. If you've been throwing the ball as much as they have, coming out in the second half and start pounding it, that defense isn't ready. They've been in a dime all game. They're not ready to start fighting, mano a mano, basically.
And on that play, Josh Allen is still throwing the ball 28 times so far compared to Lamar's 16. And rushing attempts now at 7 total carries for the Bills for 32 yards. So they're starting to get a little something going. The question now is, what do the Ravens do? Because they came out in the first quarter firing. They were able to run all over the place. But the second quarter, when they did run, they had trouble finding some room. But Lamar did get going in that 2-minute drill passing. So we'll see how the Ravens adjust at halftime too, and how the Bills defense adjusts. Because if you're the Ravens, you almost have to answer as quick as possible because you've left 6 points on the board. You got to go out and pick up something on this drive, more or less, because this is what we've seen the Bills do is they come out. We saw it last week in the playoff game. We've seen it during this win streak. They come out of the half, score, stop, you score again, and the avalanche starts.
Yeah, definitely. And, if the Ravens can't put a drive together to at least get a field goal attempt on this one, that might be exactly what happens. But if you're the Ravens, don't be surprised if you get a first down on a run, hustle to the line, play action over the top to Marquise Brown. We talked about the wins, but they did seem to die down on that kick, so might possibly be able to get a shot play in right here and get something quick over the top after you get a first down.
They're very optimistic that this wind will continue to calm down a little bit. So far, it's definitely been rattling a little bit, affecting the snaps, affecting the kicks, affecting some of the throws too down the field. I mean, we haven't seen too much of the down the field throwing, but when we have seen it, it's always been a little bit off too. It hasn't been the cleanest down the field throwing game today. And the Bills' defense, the question is, do they continue what they did in the first half with a lot of blitzing? I mean, 44% of the time on pass plays, they sent heat. Do you continue sending heat after Lamar, or do you sit back in a zone and try and make him beat you with the arm? That's the question.
When they're sending heat, they've had a lot of success because they're immediately getting to, and it's the guys they're sending heat with. It's Levi Wallace, one of your fastest corners. Taron Johnson, your other faster corner. It's not your bigger guys that are a little slow of foot. It's the guys that are a little bit quicker, more agile side to side.
1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Lamar play action to J.K. Dobbins. Quick pass underneath the Marquise Brown. He will cut it upfield for a gain of about 8. 2nd down and 2 from the 32-yard line. Then there's Lamar and them finding that quick passing game, using the play action. Just stop those guys just a second in their tracks and get it into your playmaker's hands really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I think it might have been actually an RPO just based off the way he held that mesh point as long as he did. But fantastic job by Lamar getting that up and over. I think that was Tremaine Edmonds on the side, and that was coming right at him. So that's a fantastic job by him.
And they will now face 2nd down and 3. Picard in the backfield with Lamar and J.K. Dobbins. He will now go motion to the opposite tight end spot. Marquise Brown at the top of the screen. Lamar will hand it off to J.K. Dobbins at the bottom of the screen. Cuts back inside. Makes a man miss. Powers forward for a gain of about 8, and that will be a Bills first down from about the 37-yard line. And it looks like they're going to come out like they did in the first drive, just powerful running out of the pistol set. Give Lamar options more or less to keep the ball or hand it off.
Yeah, it's not a bad option. I mean, look, you talk about it in the first half. They were averaging almost, 4 yards a carry? It's not a terrible idea if you're the Ravens. You're still only down by 7. You have plenty of time. Drive the ball. Keep it moving. Don't try to get too cute.
And J.K. Dobbins, their leading rusher with 6 carries for 36 yards at 6 yards a carry. 1st down and 10 for the Ravens at about 36-yard line. J.K. Dobbins will get the ball again. Cuts back upfield for about a gain of about 3 yards. Matt Milano and Trey Edmonds on the stop. That time, not a whole lot of room, but cuts back and gets what he can as quick as he can. For a smaller back like J.K., who I believe is about 5'8", 210-ish, he definitely brings a punch. He's not an easy guy to bring down whatsoever.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, we talked about him coming out of Ohio State as being a big guy, but he's fast and impactful, and you see it's transitioned really well into the NFL. You kind of get lost behind that line, and then when people make contact with him, they don't bring him down easily. 2nd and 8
from the 40-yard line. Bills bringing heat. Lamar gets it out quickly to Mark Andrews, who makes Jordan Poyer miss and dips the shoulder into Tre'Davious White. Falls forward for a gain of about 3. 12-yard gain. 1st down Ravens. Now they're starting to get clicking in the passing game. We're seeing them get the ball out of Lamar's hands quickly and basically throw right where the blitz is coming. This time the Bills saying heat from both sides, and they were able to just throw right where the hole was.
Yeah, it looked like an edge blitz, and then Tremaine Edmonds dipped down a little too far. Whether he was blitzing or not, I'm not sure. It looked like he was just checking the run. But yeah, fantastic job by Andrews to get open, Lamar to find him real soon. And honestly, Tre'Davious White with a pretty professional move, sliding to the side, just holding his arms on him, trying not to die when Mark Andrews dropped his shoulder.
And that was a strong play by Mark Andrews to get a little extra hidden yardage there, too. 5 seconds left on the play clock. 1st and 10. Lamar will fake the handoff. Quick throw to Mark Andrews in the flat, and he will be met quickly by, it looks like, A.J. Klein as well for a gain of about 2. And a little bit of jawing afterwards. You can't have a stiff arm to the face without a little bit of jawing as well, too.
I don't know what it is about these AFC North tight ends. Last year was Vance McDonald. This year, Mark Andrews with a stiff arm, holding the ball out there like it's a loaf of bread. Do you, Mark Andrews, if you're going to be that strong. But, man, you be careful because not everybody's going to be as easy to stiff arm as A.J. Klein just was.
And even on that one, it was only a gain of about 2 yards. So the Ravens, we set up with a 2nd and 8 now from about the 40-yard line. Actually, yeah, about the 46-yard line. Lamar drops back to pass, surveys the field. Pressure comes in, and they will get him. It looks like it was Jerry Hughes again. And that's his 2nd sack of the game now so far. He's bringing the speed off the edge, and when Lamar steps up, he's able to cut back inside the block.
Yeah, definitely. Jefferson got there first, but it looked like Jerry Hughes finally wrapped him up. Jefferson did enough just to throw him off and didn't let him get that easy dump off to JK. And Hughes did exactly what he needed to do and just wrap up. And it honestly looks like Jefferson got clear off of Powers, just did not even get touched. And that just set up everything for that play.
And that is one thing that a lot of defensive coaches have said. When you play Lamar Jackson, you got to get upfield and then break back inside. You can't try and round the corner on him. 3rd and 13, about 5 seconds left on the play clock from the 50-yard line. Ravens got to snap the ball or call a timeout here real quick. They will get the snap off. Lamar drops back to pass. Jerry Hughes in his face again, but Lamar will bolt up the middle. He's got some room. He escapes. He gets up. He gets past the first down marker. Gain of about 15 yards there. He will get the first down. Made a couple defensive backs a little uneasy in space, too. You don't see that very often when a quarterback makes defensive backs a little nervous in space trying to tackle him.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't enjoy watching Lamar run this while he's holding it out there, but, man, he is slick. You sit here and look at it. He has Jerry Hughes in his face. His tackle is just doing a terrible job. And he just goes right up the middle. Makes Milano miss. Makes the DBs kind of wonder whether or not he's going to decide to juke them next. And you know what? He gets the first down, and that's the important thing. Gets the first down, gets down, and doesn't lose the ball.
1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Lamar with 33 yards now on the ground. Picard in motion. A high snap, but he does get the handoff quickly to J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards, excuse me. Not a lot of room to move there. Still gains about 2 yards by just keeping the legs churning. The wind looks like it might have got a hold of that snap, too. That one shot up by Lamar's head.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the wind or if that was just another terrible snap, but Lamar with the very, very good hand-eye coordination to bring that down one-handed.
Exactly. And the Bills came in hot on that one. They were sending everybody. When they saw the snap, it looks like basically everybody just started crashing in case of a chance for a fumble. You see Josh Norman's in the backfield as well, too. Yeah, second and 9 now as the Bills line up in the defense, and the Ravens are starting to get a little cooking, but plays like that kind of kill your momentum a little bit, too. And Lamar will take the snap now, draws back to survey. Not a lot of room, steps back, finds Willie Snead in the flat, makes a man miss. Gain of about 8 yards, so it'll be 3rd and 1, tackled by Teron Johnson. And they're in business again, 3rd and 1. This is kind of that Lamar RPO read option territory that the Ravens thrive in.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned, Macari with that snap and that offset of the momentum you just gained. Well, Willie Snead just gave it right back to you. So you done great job by Willie Snead getting into space, getting open, and then to make yards after contact. He gained a little, I think, like 4 after contact right there. So great job by him.
Those hidden yards always end up making a difference from 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 1. Ravens coming out heavy, too. Multiple tight ends, multiple backs. Lamar will fake the hand. He will hand it off this time to Gus Edwards, and Gus looks like he will bolt forward. This is going to be awfully close. He's right at the line. If this yellow line's any indicator, he will have the first down, but it doesn't get a whole lot closer than this. The refs are signaling first down, so.
Yeah, as I was about to say, it looked like, Lamar is very demonstrative on the sideline. That just threw me off. It looked like the top official was just going to signal a first down as he's coming in, but great job just powering straight through the middle, getting a small gap, and Edwards just doing what he had to do and just go forward.
Especially with multiple Bills players starting to make contact in the backfield as well, too. It looked like Teron Johnson actually almost tripped him up at the very back end of it. So strong running by Gus Edwards gives them the first down, and the play clock running down again. 3 seconds left. Heavy back set. Lamar will fake it to J.K. Dobbins, throw it quickly underneath to Willie Snead, and Willie Snead will continue breaking tackles. He goes from a 4-yard gain and makes it a 9-yard gain, takes the entire Bills Mafia in the stadium to take him down. We see some powerful running from one of the smaller guys on the field, Willie Snead, so far.
Not a guy you relate with power ever. Speed, agility, sure.
Quickness in and out of breaks, yeah. Acceleration. Yeah. But Derrick Henry 2.0, not necessarily your first thought when we say Willie Snead.
This was some straight Friday Night Lights stuff right here. Just spin with it, roll with the point.
No more fumbles, Billingsley. No more fumbles.
And, talk about Snead. He does have an issue with fumbles, so maybe that is something they worked on.
2nd and inches. Lamar will take the snap from the pistol, hand it off to J.K. Dobbins, who finds a big lane to cut back in, a gain of about 6. It will be 1st and goal from the 10, if I'm not mistaken, unless they're going to give him a little bit of room to get a first down. But, yep, 1st and goal. The Ravens are cooking now. Their first time in goal-to-go territory as well. 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Buffalo up 10-3, and the Ravens are driving.
Yeah, this is a fantastic drive from the Ravens. I'm still a little curious as to what set Lamar off on the sideline over there. But whatever it is, it seems to have gotten these guys going.
And right now, J.K. Dobbins, 8 carries, 44 yards. Lamar Jackson, 8 carries for 33 yards. Both guys getting involved in the game. Gus Edwards with 8 for 30 as well, too. Spreading the love. Lamar fumbles the snap, but he is able to hand it off to J.K. Dobbins. And nope, it looks like Lamar kept the ball. I don't know what exactly happened there, but somehow resulted in a gain of 1 with Lamar having the ball. Another broken play Lamar's able to make something out of, but another weirdly low snap, and Lamar wasn't quite able to corral it. And it looked like he just kind of kept the ball trying to make something out of it once the mesh point was destroyed.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's another snap that's just what is going on right now, Macari? I don't know. You might consider bringing in Skura at some point in time.
Actually, that one I think Lamar just kind of fumbled a little bit. It was a little bit to his left, but he did have both hands on it. And then at that point, the mesh point was gone, so he just kind of kept it.
He pulled the old receiver of starting to run before you catch the ball.
And we got about 4 seconds left. Multiple guys in motion. They don't have a lot of time. They got to get this ball off, and they will. They fake the handoff to Dobbins, and immediately Jerry Hughes in Lamar's face. He tries to throw it across body. Nowhere to go whatsoever. Gets a little bit tipped, so they'll be 3rd and goal at the 9-yard line. As soon as they enter goal territory, things haven't been too pretty for them. The mishandled snap, and then this kind of blocking. I don't want to say it was a miss block, but it looked like Jerry Hughes came in awfully quick on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I think somebody let him go that wasn't supposed to. Yeah, he just came right off the edge. The tackle on that side did not even look at him.
And the Bills look like they brought heat, too, because they had 2 guys crossing the field in the same area, and there's no way to get him the ball at that point.
Yeah, definitely. And it actually looks like what was supposed to happen there was JK was supposed to come over and pick up one of the guys, but the fact was there were 2 rushers off the edge, and he took the outside.
3rd and goal, 1 second left on the play clock. Lamar gets the snap off. He drops back. He will fire it into the end zone, and it will be intercepted. Teron Johnson takes that ball, and he's running the other way. He's got blockers out in front. Tre'Davious White right next to him. Tre'Davious White gets out in front, covering up Lamar, and it looks like Teron Johnson has a chance to go all the way. He will take it all the way. 100 yards. Teron Johnson flipping the field, picking off Lamar in the end zone, and they will celebrate in front of the giant TV as they always have to.
You know what, man? This is a game-changing play. I talked about it in the keys for this Bills defense. You miss your opportunity for takeaways. Taron Johnson undercutting this route. I don't know what Lamar saw, but Taron Johnson, great job in undercutting the Mark Andrews stick route, whatever it is that they call that, the old Jason Witten style. Taking it 100 yards for a touchdown. Lamar had a chance. He kind of just accepted Trey White was going to block him. And you know what? This is what happens. This is a fantastic play by Taron Johnson. I literally have no words for just how great of a play that is.
That was pretty clever on him as well, too. We've seen him do this a few times throughout the season. They have multiple hitch routes, so he's supposed to take that 3rd receiver, which means you could throw to Mark Andrews' outside shoulder, as the PAT is good. So that way he could shield off the inside defender, but Taron Johnson peeled off as soon as he saw that. Heck of a play to read Lamar Jackson's eyes and the ability to find his blocks and set him up and go coast to coast. Lamar looks a little shaken after that play, too. I mean, we know he can bounce back. He's a former MVP. We know he's got it, but hopefully that interception after such an outstanding drive to get in goal territory doesn't shake him too much and he's able to get back out there.
Yeah, definitely, man. Taron Johnson, that's either some film work or that's just a great headsy play right there. But I honestly chalk it up to both. Everybody knows Mark Andrews is his target in the red zone. And you looked at that and you kind of hid Mark Andrews in your route or in your line or the way you lined up in your formation. And he went to the same spot he always goes to. And Taron Johnson, man, fakes the outside as soon as Lamar started his windup, jumped inside. So that's a great film work, but that's also, most importantly, a great headsy play. And looking forward to Lamar, man. I don't know what he's going to do. He was already very demonstrative that drive, and it started to turn around for him. And then he throws that pick. First of all, I guess I got to know what he was being demonstrative about. But it doesn't look good right now. If this drive isn't sustained that he comes out with right now, this could get very ugly very fast.
Now, if you're the Ravens, you find yourself suddenly down by 2 touchdowns with 40 seconds left on the 3rd. Do you come back out running it, or do you feel you're in a position you have to pass it? Because that was a long drive. They did work, and it got you in that position. But can you take that much time off the clock again, being down 2 full touchdowns at this point?
It's still the 3rd quarter.
Barely. About 40 seconds left. So, I mean, you really got 1, maybe 2 plays left in the 3rd.
You got 15 minutes and 40 seconds left. And honestly, as long as you score a touchdown here with it and keep 8 to 10 minutes left on the clock, you have a great chance because your defense hasn't been playing bad. Literally, the Bills just finally scored their first touchdown in the third quarter. So, this isn't a bad – and they didn't miss 2 field goals. That is something to consider. This game is a lot closer than the scoreboard shows right now.
To be fair, the Bills only missed 1 field goal. That's going to be the difference of the game is who misses less field goals.
Exactly. I mean, right now you look at it, 6 points off the board for the Ravens. That doesn't exist anymore. 3 for the Bills. That would change this whole outlook on the game right now if those field goals were hit. And if you're the Ravens, yeah, sure. Honestly, I'm not ashamed to run the ball continuously right here because you can still run it and not lose a lot of clock. I mean, they are fast.
And as we mentioned too, the Bills defense has, I'm not going to say underachieved because they haven't been bad by any means, but considering what we expect from the Bills the last couple of years, they haven't been quite as hot. But like we did mention, 3rd in the league in takeaways, and you see it right there when you have an offense like theirs does, just a takeaway. They don't even have to score on the takeaways, but when you score on it, that's just a bonus. That you suddenly put the other team in a hole, and that gives your defense a lot of leeway. Just one takeaway like that completely flips the game, as the Bills will kick this one off. And it looks like this one will go out of the back of the end zone for a touchback as well. So the Ravens will take over at the 25-yard line. And they got to get scooting. They can't take too much time off this clock. Like you mentioned, they do have some time as Lamar frustrated on the sideline. As we have seen, he's a very emotional guy, which for better and for worse, we'll see if he can galvanize behind this and get rolling, though. Last week when Malcolm Butler said a couple words to them when they were struggling, next thing we know, Lamar Jackson has a 20-mile-per-hour rush for 57 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't take much to get Lamar going. So it wouldn't surprise me if maybe he comes out. Honestly, maybe a Bill happened to chirp on him on the way by. Tre'Davious White is not known as being the most quiet guy. He definitely likes talking a little bit, especially if Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde got close to Lamar. Don't be surprised if they said something. But it doesn't take much for Lamar. Honestly, it's just, can he keep his focus? It did not look good. Well, I will say that. His reaction does not look good to his teammates. But that's always been Lamar at the end of the day.
And they can explode really quickly, even if they aren't much of a passing team. They have the ability to run and be explosive, which is what makes them unique. I mean, last week alone against the Titans, Lamar had 3 of the fastest, when looking at next-gen stats, he had 3 of the fastest 5 runs of 20-plus miles per hour. The other 2 were Jonathan Taylor, and I think the other one was the pick 6 in the Rams game when he was running to the house. So Lamar can easily score just by not throwing the ball as well, too. That is no threat. As we're looking at this replay by Taron Johnson, lined up in the slot, but keeping eyes on Lamar, and he kind of baited this one. Like, he sat in between, and as soon as he saw Lamar look, he broke on it. He knew Lamar wanted to go to Mark Jackson, which if I had Mark Andrews, I would throw to Mark Andrews in the red zone a lot as well, too.
I wouldn't be too ashamed to throw to Mark Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, they're killing me with this one, but that's a heck of a play by Taron Johnson. And then just Micah Hyde, too, staying strong on Mark Andrews' front side, so he has to go backwards. Oh, I'm sorry, I undersold it. It was a 101-yard return for a touchdown.
Our apologies, Taron.
Tied for the longest NFL postseason history from 1993 with George Teague, as they just showed on the highlight. So that's a heck of a play by Taron Johnson, is their ultimate Swiss Army knife. The Ravens will come out and they will hand the ball to J.K. Dobbins up the gut. Absolutely nowhere to go whatsoever. Ed Oliver in on the tackle. Looks like they wanted to come out and get the run game going again, but the Bills were all over it as 30 seconds left in the third quarter with time ticking away.
Yeah, Harrison Phillips, Ed Oliver finally making their name known. I say Harrison Phillips finally. He's made plays a couple times, but Ed Oliver especially stepping up when you need to step up, and you're that cornerstone on the defensive line along with Harrison Phillips. That's exactly what you need to start out this drive.
And you can tell they're starting to open up the defensive playbook a little bit more. There's about 7 seconds left in the half. I don't think the Ravens are going to get a snap off. Well, they do get the snap off, and they shoot it way over his head. Lamar will pick it up, and he will throw it out of bounds. Do they call that grounding? I don't know if he's outside the tackle box. It looks like they're going to wave it off, and Micah Hyde is definitely arguing with that. Same with Jerry Hughes. Lamar's in the end zone. He's still on the ground. I don't know if he's dinged up or if he's hurt or if he's upset. It's hard to tell, but they will throw the flag, so they are going to call intentional grounding. No. And Lamar does seem to be hurt. He is down in the red zone, and the trainers are coming out, and there's a flag. Looks like they're going to call this intentional grounding, but that is not a good look. Lamar is on the ground. So they're calling intentional grounding, but are they saying he was in the end zone when he threw it?
No, it looks like they're saying he's down at the 1 yard line.
So it'll be third down at the end of the third quarter. Lamar Jackson is down in the end zone. We will come back in just a little bit too after this quick break to see what is going on, if we will see him come back as well. And welcome back to the High Low Sports Podcast, broadcast of the Bills-Ravens playoff game. And wow, we just ended the third quarter. We'll come back a little bit early, and holy cow, a bad snap shoots it way over Lamar's head. And last we saw, Lamar was on the ground being helped by the trainers. Kelcey, what do you think this means? Obviously, this is a big deal if this is a bad injury for Lamar.
Yeah, look, we've all seen those kind of guys go down with injuries after being very demonstrative, and it's not really an injury. But this, I don't know. I've never seen Lamar wriggle on the ground like that. And this might actually be something big, and you hope it's not.
Looking at the replay, too, it looks like Tremaine Edmonds had his legs while Troy Murphy pushed. They almost tabletoped him. They took him on the cart back, but Lamar did start jogging into the locker room. So it's not going to say it's a good sign, but it's a better sign that it doesn't look absolutely terrible there.
Exactly, yeah. And you hope the best for him. It maybe looks like he's going for an X-ray.
And they will snap it 3rd and 33. They will run a quarterback draw from the 1. They will make a tackle. I do not see who the quarterback was actually off the top of my head, but they will gain about 20 yards. So that's a good job getting out of there as well. It looks like Brent Huntley, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's Brent Huntley.
Former Utah
I think the former UCLA quarterback, isn't it?
Hold on. Sorry.
Tyler Huntley. Sorry, guys. It is Tyler Huntley, 1 carry for 19 yards. So I apologize. I was not prepared for Lamar to not be playing at any point. So Tyler Huntley with a 20-yard carry to get them out of the shadow of their own goalpost. So Sam Cook will punt this 4th and 14. And the punt is away, and it's a low one. That did not get very high in the air, but it will take a pretty favorable bounce for them, pinning the Bills down to about their 26-yard line. So a low line drive punt, but you can't ask for much more. And the big question here is, can they stop the Bills, and is Lamar Jackson going to come back into the game for them?
Yeah, definitely. This is incredible, really 3 plays that has changed this game completely. That Taron Johnson pick, return, and then that intentional grounding right there. And Tyler Huntley coming in, a rookie out of University of Utah, along with Julian Blackman, and then the guy from the
Jalen Johnson, and then as well as the guy on the Rams who I can't remember his name either. Too, they had Zach Moss, who's not playing in this game, but still too heck of a squad in Utah last year.
Exactly, yeah. Coming in for that big treat, I guess 5 guys from Utah. And there's probably some linemen that we forgot about that came in from Utah, so include them as well because they always put linemen in. But yeah, no, this is a huge change of pace, man. Because Tyler Huntley, he's more of a thrower over the ball than he is a scrambler. But as we saw, he can run. And
he broke a tackle at the goal line too to get those yards. And it is a commercial break right now, 4:14 left in the 4th quarter. So you're not missing anything right now. We're not talking over any plays for those who don't have the game access and are just listening along too. So still plenty of time to go. Bills will take over at the 26-yard line. If you're the Bills at this point, you almost have to feel this is your chance because you don't know if Lamar's going to come back out. You don't know if this is going to be like the Browns Monday night game where he comes out and just unleashes hell on everybody. So if you're the Bills, this is your chance to put a fork in it, more or less.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're the Bills, you got to come out right here. I mean, this a huge flip of the field right there by the kicker, who has also shanked a kick earlier this game. So great job by him to get this field flip when you need it, really, because you got to make these Bills drive. If they have an easy drive or even really good field position, you can almost ice this game away. But this gives an opportunity for the Ravens defense, who has done pretty well all game, who I just mentioned earlier, just gave up their very first touchdown. So, it's not something out of the realm of possibility that they can stop this drive.
And if you're the Bills, you saw Devin Singletary. You finally got him involved. He's at 4 carries for 23 yards now. He's rolling a little bit. Do you come out feeding him, or do you come out letting Josh Allen basically try and just end this game, stab the flag into the ground like your Baker Mayfield back at Oklahoma? Or do you let Devin Singletary and the offensive line kind of ride a little bit, kill some clock, just get yourself out of here as safe and as comfortable as you can?
Look, I'm a little bit of a greedy person. So, I mean, honestly, for me, I'd be like, run, and hopefully you have a first down after 2 runs, take a play action shot over the top. But if I were super greedy, I'd come out with a play action right here. But the likely case is going to be a bunch of runs right here, just trying to kill the clock, ice this game away slowly but surely.
And if you're the Ravens, you just got to, not just for this game, but for next season and his future, and just for him as a guy too, you got to hope Lamar Jackson's okay. This isn't too serious of an injury. And the Bills will take over now, 1st and 10 from their 24-yard line. And they're coming out spread look. Josh Allen by himself in the backfield, Devin Singletary at the bottom of the screen. And they'll throw it quickly underneath here. Had to catch it a couple times there, Isaiah McKenzie, but it will be a gain of, or John Brown, for about a gain of 4 yards. So more or less, it's a Bills run on that play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the John Brown double catch. It's a special. It's their extended run 2 yards past the line of scrimmage. So it's exactly what the Bills have been doing all game. But yeah, no, you mentioned you hope Lamar's okay. That is a big deal. I mean, the playoff game doesn't matter if he doesn't come back in. You just hope he's okay at the end of the day.
You hope it's nothing serious too. And the Bills will come out 2nd and 6 from their 28-yard line. Three receiver at the bottom of the screen. Stephon Diggs isolated at the top of the screen by himself. Devin Singletary to Josh Allen's left. He comes in motion. They'll throw quickly underneath Isaiah McKenzie, and Isaiah will make a man miss, gain about 7 yards for a first down, and he'll be stopped right there as well too. And it looks like the Bills are going to continue their extended pass runs at this point.
Yeah, definitely. And I've noticed something on these extended pass runs where it's 3 to a side. Every time Gabriel Davis is the middle guy because he's always marked up against Marlon Humphrey.
And he's your big body guy that's practically a mini tight end out there. You just kind of get behind him when he's matched up against most corners.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just it's an interesting thing to pick up on that they match up their most physical receiver with their most physical corner in a way that they can actually block.
And then right now, 3 receivers to the top of the screen. Josh Allen in the backfield, Devin Singletary to his right. This time he'll fake the handoff to Devin Singletary on an RPO. Try and throw a back shoulder fade to John Brown on this side by himself. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. Right now, I think they're kind of just running the RPOs at this point, just seeing what they can do with letting Josh Allen make the decisions for them, more or less.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like that one John Brown didn't get as wide as he was expecting, or Josh Allen was expecting him to be. But definitely it's just kind of an extended run, short passing game. Let Josh Allen carry you to the promised land, which isn't a terrible idea.
I mean, he had a 69% completion percentage this year, multiple 4-touchdown games, and he's one of the leaders in rushing touchdowns. It seems safe.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
2nd and 10, and Josh Allen will hand the ball off this time. Devin Singletary will power forward for about a gain of 3 yards. So that'll put him at about 3rd down and 7. Pretty manageable 3rd down for them as well, too. The question is, do you keep running the ball, kill this clock? What kind of play do you call in this situation? Do you want Josh Allen rolling? Do you want to keep the clock running? Because it looks like Tyler Huntley is going to be the quarterback that comes out because we haven't seen Lamar come back yet. Do you really risk anything here necessarily? Let the Ravens defense make a play? Or do you trust your defense against a backup quarterback?
Honestly, I mean, with how prevalent RPOs are nowadays, I run an RPO right here. Have a quick slant from, it looks like Cole Beasley's right there. Have him either run a pigtail route or something like that. And
Josh Allen will drop back deep. He will fire to the bottom of the screen to Stephon Diggs, who finds a wide open gap in the zone. He will cut back inside, and he will go down at about the 48-yard line, just crossing midfield too. First down, Bills. So, I mean, just let Josh Allen spread him out and pick him apart at this point.
Yeah, I'm just going to shut up every time you ask me what I plan on doing in those situations because Sean McDermott's like, I'm going to go 5 wide, and I got Stephon Diggs out there.
That was a sneaky route by him, too. He not only was he pushing deep, but he's also looking like he's going to fade to the outside, like a fade route at the sideline, then stops and turns inside. Excellent find, too, with Dawson Knox kind of in the flat route, pulling that other zone away as well, too.
Yeah, and again, matched up with Jimmy Smith, and again, sells that deep route and breaks wide open, and poor Jimmy Smith, he's being picked on right now.
And 1st and 10, Josh Allen with the play action. He will fire it this time to Stephon Diggs.
What a catch.
I don't know how I fit that one in there. Somehow Patrick Queen looked like he was the guy chasing Stephon Diggs with Marlon Humphrey peeling off trying to come back to him. So I don't know how you ended up with that matchup, but that's one the Bills trust every time.
Yeah, anytime I'm throwing to Stephon Diggs, it doesn't matter where he is or who he's covered by. I trust Stephon Diggs for that exact reason. He goes and pinpoints this ball, plucks it out of the air while falling to the ground, keeps himself protected between Patrick Queen and Marlon Humphrey. Fantastic job at him. And Josh Allen taking a shot while he's delivering that.
And throwing it low as well, too, so Stephon Diggs doesn't have to take a hit whatsoever. So 1st and 10, 5 seconds left on the play clock, just across the 40-yard line. Josh Allen takes snap, and he will fake the handoff to Singletary. He will try to keep this, but Bowser seems to have contained. Josh Allen will stiff arm him and truck over a few guys on the sideline for the Ravens sideline as well, too. So he does help up the coach, but Josh Allen has to take a little bit of blood with him when he runs on the sideline.
Stay out of Josh Allen's way is my lesson there. Yeah, look, he tried to do the same thing he did earlier. Bowser this time actually stayed a little bit further off. Was able to keep the corner this time, didn't just let Josh Allen outrun him. But yeah, Josh Allen going to the sideline with a stiff arm, man, and he delivered a boom to the head coach or whoever that was on the outside. Whatever coach that is, hopefully he's okay.
He seemed to be okay. They helped him right back up. So it'll be 2nd and 12, 5 seconds left in the play clock once again. Josh Allen got to get the snap off quickly as he surveys. Isaiah McKenzie in motion, fakes the handoff to Devin Singletary quickly underneath Isaiah McKenzie. Absolutely no hampers out of bounds. Gain about 1 yard there, so they'll be faced with about a 3rd and 11. Ravens defense clamped down these last couple of plays, not letting any of the misdirection fool them at all.
Oh, definitely. And, if you're that coach again, on that same sideline, Isaiah McKenzie was coming right for you.
A little bit less terrifying, but still scary nonetheless. And this is a situation where Josh Allen's legs, especially last week where they'd spread him out, were really, really deadly. I mean, these are the two leading rushing quarterbacks since they both came into the league. Josh Allen actually has the most touchdowns rushing since then with 25.
I mean, it's a really intelligent idea. I mean, you spread them out, you make them match you up, and you take your 5 linemen against usually 5 down linemen and a linebacker, and you got your quarterback.
And 3rd and 11, Josh Allen will take a shot. He was going for John Brown way down the field, but Elliott was not having any of that. There was not a whole lot of space there. It looked like he just kind of threw it up for his guys as a mini arm punt attempt.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure who the corner was on that coverage. I actually think he got pushed off onto a safety here. Number 23 did a fantastic job, stayed with him the entire way.
Fantastic coverage. Stuck him the entire way. It looks like it was Averett and didn't touch him, didn't do anything. Fantastic coverage. Great play by the Ravens. And look, are they quite in field goal range? It looks like they're just outside of field goal range, so they will force a punt. So 9 minutes left. Question is, can Tyler Huntley get them going as the Bills get the punt away? This one seems to be a high-skying punt, and it's going to drop pretty early. There will be no return, most likely.
Oh, what a bounce.
And it takes a very favorable bounce just on the opposite side of the 10-yard line. A.J. Klein will down it. So, Tyler Huntley, welcome back for the second time. You're within your own 10-yard line when you see the field.
Yeah, definitely. You know, if you're Tyler Huntley, well, welcome to the NFL, my guy. This is not something you saw very often in Utah. You didn't really see a defense that was this level of athletic on the other side. And you didn't have to start inside your 10-yard line twice. You got one try at last drive from, 20 out, I think, for it's like 3rd and 20. This time you're starting inside your 10. You're down by 14. Time to make a story for yourself, kid, because these playoffs have been something for stories. This might be a chance for Tyler Huntley to make himself the next one.
Definitely a tall task ahead of him, too. And we did mention Josh Allen as far as rushing touchdowns. Lamar obviously leads the league in rushing yards since then with just over 2,900 yards, too. So even if Tyler Huntley, we saw some mobility, the offense is built around Lamar's legs with just seeing, 2,900 yards in 3 years rushing, and you don't even start all 3 seasons. So we'll have to see how they can retool the offense because Greg Roman and John Harbaugh built this team around him specifically. Very few quarterbacks can run this offense because they're not built. No one's Lamar Jackson at quarterback, really.
Definitely, yeah. I think this goes back to our conversation earlier about one of our previous episodes about coaches not building teams around their star quarterbacks. Well, this is the downside to doing that. You see it here. Don't be wrong. Tyler Huntley, he is athletic, but he's more known as a passing guy. In Utah, yeah, he'd scramble away, but he would scramble to get down, not scramble to make explosive plays. He's more likely right here to literally drop back, hit a 5-step drop, try to throw a deep ball. I think there's a passing game built there, and I think Harbaugh had this in his back pocket. But at the same time,
it's a really tall task in your first game to come against the hottest team in the league. As we mentioned, 10 of their last 11, only losing by D-Hop down there somewhere somehow in ways that make absolutely no sense and probably made the Jordan Brown millions of dollars. Good job, DeAndre Hopkins. And speaking of sponsors, I'd like to take a quick second here during this commercial break to mention one of ours as well. I'm going to mention, once again, Dr. Squatch. For better skin, without all the harsh chemicals, and a manly smell too, go and visit that in our link tree, as well as on all of our social media pages too. I'm a big fan. It's good for the beard when I decide to grow it. Not much there right now, obviously. It's good for the hair, not much there either, but it's also good for the body wash as well too.
Yeah, I don't really have any experience with growing a beard. It's all patchy. But you know what? That body wash, high quality stuff, guys. I definitely recommend it. And you can sign up for a monthly deal that they actually send you bars to your house. So, just like we talked about the Craft Beer Club, Dr. Squatch has something for all their body wash and actually beard oils and everything else.
Everything you can want to be this most handsome as you can be, as Tyler Huntley will take the ball from the 10-yard line, 1st and 10, and he will hand this one off to Gus Edwards, and not a whole lot of space to go, so he'll just power forward for about a gain of 3. He's able to make a little bit of something just by churning the legs, but looks like they're going to try and get back into this one on the ground because it's tough to just put you in this situation, have you drop back and pass. You might be capable of doing it, but if you can get some cheap yards running to get you out of this part of the field too, that'll help out a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I do think this is one of those situations they're just kind of trying to get him in the flow of things. As we look at his career at Utah, over 7,000 passing yards, 46 touchdowns, 20 interceptions, 67% completion rate. not bad at all for anybody.
And on that play, too, throws a short little 6-yard out to Willie Snead there to set you up with a 3rd down and 1. A little bit low, Willie Snead able to reel it in. So he's going to have to run this 2-minute drill basically from 8 minutes out. You got to get 2 touchdowns quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck, rookie. But time to make a name for yourself. Even if it's not for the Ravens in the future, you know what? It's time to show that you can do something. This is the exact moment he's been dreaming of. 3rd and 2, ball at the 18-yard line. 2 receivers at the top of the screen. Marquise Brown by himself at the bottom. Tyler Huntley takes the snap, and he will hand this one off to Gus Edwards, who finds a lane and is able to scoop. Tackled by Levi Wallace and Micah Hyde at about the 26-yard line. Solid run there. Picks up the 1st down and keeps the chains moving. 7:45 left in the 4th quarter. Bills up 17-3. And that pick 6 by Teron Johnson basically flipped this game on its head, and the Bills have not looked back at all. Yeah, definitely. And you also you look at this and you're like, you talk about some cheap yards. They got some cheap yards right there on that 3rd and short.
And on that one, Tyler Huntley throws a high ball into coverage there, double covers, and Tre'Davious White's able to break it up, going for Mark Andrews, but Trey White and Matt Milano were having none of that, so it'll be 2nd and 10 as well, too. Can't really fault the guy. When in doubt, throw it out to Mark Andrews. That's usually a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea for anybody.
The only problem is when Trey White's in the vicinity, it's never a good idea.
Yeah. Nobody really wants to throw at Trey White. Trey White just shows up, people.
They throw left and suddenly Trey White appears there.
Yeah, Trey White just hides in the trenches and he'll just pop up right now over the top of Marquise Brown.
And 2nd and 10, Tyler Huntley will take the snap, steps up, ball gets tipped at the line, and what a snag by Willie Snead. Almost assured pick 6 by Teron Johnson on that one as well before Snead plucks it out of the air. That one was almost, Teron Johnson almost just made himself a whole lot of money with a 2nd pick 6 in this game too.
Yeah, definitely. That ball tipped at the line, and you see Snead just sticking his hand out, just saving the play, and actually managed to hold on to it. Not much, gain of 2, but you know what? That's a game.
It's better than a loss of 7 points at that, honestly. So that's a heck of a play by Snead to keep you going. About 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Bills still up 17-3, 3rd and 8. Bunch set at the bottom of the screen. Marquise Brown with Willie Snead on the inside of it. Mark Andrews on the back end. Tyler Huntley will take the snap, drops back to pass. Teron Johnson's coming wide unblocked, but Huntley will throw it up. Incomplete. Going for Des Bryant. Des Bryant's calling for a flag. Levi Wallace, is having none of it. That will be 4th and 8 now, and if you're the Ravens, you kind of have to go for it here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
No choice at this point. They're showing the replay. It looks like in live, Des Bryant had some pretty legitimate claims. And definitely on the replay, Levi Wallace did drape himself a little early, but that ball's pretty high. I don't know if that's catchable even for Des Bryant's freakish self, considering he's not as freakish as he was.
That's a tough call there either way. I mean, it's going to be 4th and 8. This is pretty much the ball game right here. If they don't get this, the Bills are going to get the ball inside the 30. So bunch set, same formation as the last time. Tyler Huntley will drop back. The Bills bring some pressure. Tyler Huntley's going to air it out, though. He's got Marquise Brown wide open, but he just overshoots him.
That was the game. If he catches that, if he drops that in the basket, that changes this entire outlook. So close. Such a beautiful ball. I almost wonder if Marquise
started inside and then started the fade outside. They seem to be just a little bit off on how that one's supposed to go. Cause you saw Risey released it. Brown started the fade to the sideline a little bit. Maybe that's just the miscommunication you have when you have a new quarterback, someone who's probably not even practiced all season, honestly. They brought him in after Trace McSorley and RG3 got hurt. He hasn't even been there for 5 weeks max, maybe.
Yeah, he's been a practice squad for sure. And man, that's unfortunate on 4th down. That's the play that you lose. You turn it over on downs because that was a great chance. That was a game changing play, career changing play possibly for somebody like Tyler Huntley. It sucks that falls aside, and we'll see what the Ravens defense can do coming back because this is great field position for Josh Allen and the Bills.
Oddly, it was very similar to the touchdown Trace McSorley did throw when he came in for RG3 in that game against the Steelers to Marquise Brown on like a weird broken play where somehow the fastest guy in the field just gets behind everybody on a 4th and 8. Trey White was nearby, but he seemed really flat-footed. I don't know if he just thought they would get there in time and didn't continue dropping back. Curious about the coverage there. That seemed like a blatant blown coverage, so just let someone run straight by you.
Yeah, that was a little different. I'm not sure what happened there, especially for somebody like Trey White. I wonder if maybe there's supposed to be a safety over the top that maybe just ducked down on Mark Andrews type route. I don't know, but I honestly have to say that's the one chance you have over Trey. We talk about Trey White just popping up. Trey White doesn't make very many mistakes, and he made one right there.
Honestly, if Tyler Huntley completes that pass, I'm pretty sure, and Marquise Brown goes in and scores, I think all of Baltimore is going to go out and buy themselves a Ravens jersey, which you can find a Tyler Huntley Ravens jersey at fanatics.com, one of our sponsors as well. Link in the link tree as well. They've been sponsoring the Unhinged Sports Network for quite a while now. They were our first sponsor too. So shout out Fanatics. Go check them out if you need any jerseys from this game. The way Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs play, you might have to grab one of them too. Maybe a Devin Singletary because he's not getting a lot of carries. You might as well get some jersey sales, help the guy out.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's funny. They're showing the Super Bowl champion shirts and stuff. Guess what? You can buy your Super Bowl champion shirts the moment the game's over right there on fanatics.com. We'll drop a link for that when that day does come. We'll actually be probably doing something live, a little cough, cough, wink, wink towards what we might be doing with the Unhinged Network. If you guys don't know, we are proud partners of the Unhinged Sports Network. One of the top shows on there. We can't say we're number one. Far to the Bench still has us for now. But with your guys' help, they won't. I know you shameless plug. I'm sorry. I couldn't stop myself.
Anyway, now that we're done with that, so the Bills will take over at about the 29-yard line. Going in, Josh Allen will fake the handoff to Devin Singletary. Looks like he want to throw the screen to Isaiah McKenzie, but there's nothing there. He will scramble out. He'll unleash the cannon, but that's going to almost go into the stands. So that's that freakish arm strength we've seen on the throwaway. Instead of throwing it out of bounds to the sideline, he throws out of the back of the end zone casually while running.
Single-handedly try to destroy the Showtime cam all in one play. He literally dekes the defense and just throws it up at the back of the end zone right where the Showtime cam is.
And they just showed the replay. And what happened was Marquise Brown actually kind of toasted Tre'Davious White faking that out route too. And I think Trey White must have thought the blitz was going to get there. He bit on that out route hard. And Tyler Huntley just floated a little bit too far with Marquise Brown cutting it inside as opposed to outside.
And you wonder how much that wind came into play right there. He has not thrown a ball in a game all season.
And 2nd and 10, the handoff to Devin Singletary with absolutely nowhere to go. The Ravens will stop him for a loss of 1. It looks like Mbukwe was there first, as well as Ford as well, too. Wolf, sorry. So heck of a play by the Ravens defense, forced the 3rd and 11. And we see now the wind is starting to pick up, too, which we know is on that deep ball as well. Some of the earlier ones Josh Allen threw. It's not too reckless of a wind. It's not like the ones we saw with Cleveland and the Texans earlier in the season where they had to delay the game, but it's definitely an effective wind.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at those flags on top of the stadium. It's obviously not as bad at field level, but it's definitely not helpful.
When the ball's in the air like that, that's where you start to feel it too. So 3rd and 11, ball at the 30-yard line, 1 second left on the play clock. Josh Allen it looks like the Bills will call timeout. They won't, something they didn't like there. They didn't want to risk it. So they'll regroup. 5 minutes, 42 seconds left in the quarter. 17-3, the Buffalo Bills are up. And this game, as we mentioned, flipped on a pick 6, and it hasn't been the same for the Ravens since.
Yeah, definitely not. That pick 6 by Taron Johnson completely baiting Lamar Jackson. And then very next drive, the not the rough the passer, but the
intentional grounding
and Lamar going out with an injury. Those two plays back to back, absolutely changing the game.
And then, of course, when Tyler Huntley does come in, he tries to find Marquise Brown, has him wide open, but isn't quite able to connect with him too. So a couple of missed opportunities as well too. As we come back to the game, we see the flags are absolutely rippling right now. And I just saw this report. It looks like Lamar Jackson left to be checked for a concussion. So that the positive side is it wasn't a leg injury like we were worried at first. But at the same time, concussions, that's no joke. That's nothing. That's a problem in itself. So hopefully it's nothing too serious and he's able to continue his career, no long-term effects.
Yeah, I hate seeing quarterbacks go out with concussions. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, Troy Aikman, career ended short because of concussions. And
3rd and 11, Josh Allen will check it down to John Brown in the flat. He will gain about 4 yards, so it'll be 4th down from about the 26-yard line. Yeah, and it looks like the Bills will bring out the field goal team here just to make this a full 17-point game.
This is a very unique drive for the Bills. They had a chance to put the foot on the throat and just completely end this, and they took it really slow. That was not exactly – I think after the first play, after it blew up, I was expecting something more on the second play, like what they just ran. But instead they went with the run game, and it didn't work. And then here on 3rd down, a short out route. So Bill's kind of settling right there, still giving Tyler Huntley a chance. I know there's not much time, but miracles can happen. It's the playoffs. And we are talking about the Bills, the same team that lost I don't know how many in a row in the Super Bowl.
They do have the biggest comeback. I think it's the second largest playoff comeback deficit, if not the first, led by Frank Reich. It was either the first or the second one of them, but 4th and 7, and the Bills will line for a field goal. They make this. It all but assures the game is over, going up 17 points with 5.5 minutes left. That's 3 scores. It's going to be tough to come back at that point too. So
yeah, definitely not easy. But we've seen how many missed kicks so far. Can this be a fourth one? Wind is picking up, and he is kicking from the left hash.
44 yards too. Definitely not a quote unquote cheap shot. So we'll see if this will essentially seal the game for him, or if this will give the Ravens life because it'll be good field position. And it looks like he shanks it wide left.
My goodness!
By a mere inches too. Just miss it. This is a rough win. This is probably why Buffalo would much rather go to Kansas City than have the Browns come here if they hold on to this game and win next week.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I gotta say, if you're a Buffalo fan out there listening, I don't blame you if you leave because I did just jinx the kick. I'm sorry. But you know what? It's been happening all night. You got to adapt. It's not like the wind is changing directions. It's just blowing. Like, adapt. Adaptation is all you have to do as kicker.
Yeah, that's still pretty hard to control the wind from a 44-yard field goal because it does pick up gusts, and it's when it gets in the air like that too, who knows what's going on.
But you know what? You get paid how much money?
Yeah, not enough to completely combat Mother Nature. I mean, that's pretty difficult there. I think that's a tall task there, sir. That wind is strong enough to tip you over.
I'm trying to help Buffalo fans not feel as bad as what Bears fans used to.
They're up 17-3. I think they're feeling okay right now.
But yeah, no, this is going to be interesting to see. Missed kicks, we see flip momentum all the time. But again, we keep having to repeating Lamar Jackson no longer in the game. And with Tyler Huntley in here, I don't think there's enough momentum there left to go the other way.
And I think if you're the Bills, you kind of have to play prevent defense here a little bit. You can't risk Marquise Brown getting behind everybody again like you just did, just because maybe the wind doesn't hit quite as hard next time, and that's an easy walk-in touchdown. So if you're the Bills, maybe chill back with sending the pressure and make them drive down the field, especially with the backup quarterback. The more plays he's on there, the less likely it is it's going to score. That's more opportunities for him to make a mistake as a guy who's not used to taking snaps in live games, let alone playoff games, with Bills Mafia going absolutely ballistic with 7,000 sounding like 7 million out there.
Yeah, definitely.
You can still smell the burning tables if you smell hard enough.
Yeah, especially with this wind blowing. I imagine there's a little bit of plastic smell in there. But yeah, no, you talk about Tyler Huntley coming in here. I wouldn't be surprised if I see the Bills. Yeah, they drop off most, but they still send one guy. They've been sending Taron Johnson around the edge since Tyler Huntley came in, or they saw somebody around the edge. Taron Johnson I saw twice, but the other play I'm not sure of. But, you got to get pressure on this rookie. You can't really let him sit there because the worst thing you could do is let him build momentum. I think you do send a little bit of heat. Just go ahead and try to end this one real quick.
Maybe send everybody and have them sit back deep and then blitz the linebackers. Who knows? But either way, the Ravens are going to take over. Pretty acceptable field position considering where you're pretty much getting it right where you just turn it over on downs. You just lost about a minute of time, basically. But they got to get going quick, fast, and in a hurry to cover this 14-point deficit with only 2 timeouts as well, too. They don't even have the full slate as well. And
now let me go ahead and just say this so people don't think I'm saying I have to be Greg Williams. Don't do what Greg Williams did. Actually play smart and maybe send one.
Anyway, so the Ravens will take it over about the 26-yard line. Huntley draws back to pass, scrambles out to his right, dumps it over the middle to, it looks like, Boykin for a gain of about 4 yards. So Miles Boykin picking up some yards, and Tyler Huntley and the Ravens offense getting on the line quick. They got to get moving.
And Boykin paying for that catch right over the middle. Looked like Ed Oliver coming back, just absolutely laying a boom.
Bunch set to the weak side of the field. Tyler Huntley takes the low snap again, fires it over the middle to J.K. Dobbins. He holds on to this one, makes a man miss, spins through another tackle. Matt Milano and Trey Edmonds with the tackle at about the 40-yard line. Ravens starting to move a little bit, taking what they're given, moving down the ball. Tyler Huntley trying to call the show at the line, too. Probably just remembering the handful of plays he does have memorized at this point. Bunch set at the bottom of the field again. Tyler Huntley takes the snap, starts surveying the field. Clean pocket, steps up deep, fires it over the middle of J.K. Dobbins underneath. Strong tackle by Matt Milano as well. And the Ravens have crossed midfield now, so Bills are giving them the check down stuff. They're making them earn it. Nothing deep. Maybe a few things mildly cheap, though.
Yeah, I got to say, dumping off to J.K. Dobbins isn't a bad option.
But I mean, when he holds on to it, he's pretty filthy. And the Ravens bring in an extra man on this time. Matt Milano starts the blitz. Tyler Huntley's going to take off. He's going to do his Lamar. And what a tackle by Ed Oliver. There was some space there. Tyler Huntley's upset. You can tell there's a little bit of space. If he could have got through that one, a couple extra yards to be had there.
Yeah, definitely. Rookie's still learning. So at the end of the day, yeah, he's still got to do better.
2nd and 8 ball at the 40-yard line. Bills starting to bringing extra heat now. Jordan Poyer's coming down, gets picked up by J.K. Dobbins. Tyler Huntley scrambling out to the left side. and Mario Addison pulls him down, and that ball does pop out at the end. They didn't blow the whistle, so it looks like the Bills might have recovered it. He might have been down. I thought he was down initially, but they're still wrestling. I don't know what's. I can't. It looked like the Bills had the ball, but but the Ravens are coming up with it. So who? All right, so Orlando Brown has the ball, and I will not argue with that man when he has the ball. So it looks like the Ravens will retain the possession, but Tyler Huntley's got to throw that ball away quickly, especially when he starts feeling that pressure coming.
Yeah, you got to get this around. As soon as you roll left and you get outside of the other hash, because you know the ball was on the hash, you know you're outside the tackle box. You just got to throw that away. And that's Ed Oliver and Orlando Brown fighting for that ball. That's a whole lot of man.
That's a lot of smoke that nobody wants. So 3rd and 16, ball just past midfield. Ravens take the snap. Tyler Huntley looking down the field. Bills sending 4. He starts to scramble forward, fires a low one. Great play by Marquise Brown to come back, catch the ball, and then bolt ahead for an extra 15 yards. A soft pass there, too, but it gave Marquise Brown a chance to come down and make a play on it as well, too.
And we talked about Marquise Brown earlier coming back on these plays. These plays are the ones that he does really well. Anything that he can come back to is usually a good thing for Marquise Brown because he's getting separation.
He basically just climbed a little bit past the first down marker, sat. Then he saw Teron Johnson had a chance to make a play on that. He said, absolutely not. I will beat you to this ball, and was able to use that momentum to get outside. Tyler Huntley, 6 of 9 for 60 yards so far, so getting a little bit of a groove, 10 yards per completion. He'll take the snap from the 20-yard line now. Ravens sniffing the red zone. Fires it to the flat to Hill, and a strong hit by Matt Milano to knock the ball loose. Probably for the better because that stops the clock as well, too, and you weren't going anywhere. So Hill did hold the ball up there kind of high for a little bit long. Maybe he was trying to get an incompletion there, or maybe he just didn't tuck it quick enough. Either way, it could have been worse for the Ravens on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Look, that's the best situation you could ask for right there, because if he holds on to that and fumbles it, oh boy. Or if he holds it up in the air even a little bit longer and Milano isn't laying a hit stick, he could easily have grabbed that and gone.
Or if he catches it and is down right there, it's 2nd 11 and the clock's running. And it's 2nd and 10. Tyler Huntley will take the snap. Instant pressure. Steps up into the pocket. Outruns Jefferson to the corner. He's got a little bit of space. He will get past first down marker and jump out of bounds. 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 17-3 Buffalo. Just now entering the red zone with Tyler Huntley at quarterback because Lamar Jackson did have to leave the game with concussion protocol. And it'll be 1st and goal for the Ravens.
Yeah, we talked about Tyler Huntley being more of a passer. You see his mobility there. It's not a lot to get away from people, but it's just enough to keep Jefferson at bay. He wasn't running away, but he just kept pace. And that's at the end of the day, all you can ask for. He gets a first down, gets out of bounds, and it's goal to go. 3
carries for 32 yards. He's getting rolling too. Ball at the 8-yard line. Ravens marching, and they will hand the ball off to J.K. Dobbins on the wide side. Fantastic play by Teron Johnson to corral him. He does get out of bounds, so at least stop the clock, but now it's 2nd and goal from the 11-yard line as opposed to the 8. It's a fantastic play to shoot that in the backfield.
Yeah, absolutely. He's having a heck of a game, especially this heck of a second half right now. He is actually playing out of his mind right now, making the great reads. I mean, if you're Huntley right there, you have to consider keeping that, but I don't blame him for giving it because I didn't think Johnson was going to crash as hard as he just did.
And who knows if that even had the option to keep to. And we just saw Stephon Diggs on the sideline getting his guys fired up. What a fantastic season he's had, and a good game too. 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. 3 receivers to the bottom of the screen. Tyler Huntley surveys the field. He'll fire to the end zone. And Mark Andrews unable to complete it. Tremaine Edmonds on the coverage. Goes out of the back of the end zone. Mark Andrews making a little bit of contact there with the goalpost.
Did anybody check the goalpost for a dent? Because that man just crushed the goalpost.
Who do you feel worse for, the Mark Andrews or the goalpost?
Definitely the goalpost. Mark Andrews, between him and Trey Edmonds, whichever one of them would have hit the goalpost, I feel terrible for the goalpost.
After what Jimmy Graham did to the goalpost back in the day, I feel bad for all goalposts when you have a tight end or linebacker coming at them. But that'll make it 3rd and goal from about the 10-yard line. Tyler Huntley coming out with a spread look. Everyone spread out. Looks like 4 receivers and a tight end. Nope, never mind. J.K. Dobbins is in the backfield. They finally got a shot. I can see things. Drops back to pass. Fires it to Dobbins out of the backfield. And it goes right through Dobbins' hands. There was another defender in the area, but he might have been able to make a man miss, and it could have been 4th and goal from the 3-yard line, if not getting into the end zone. That's a missed opportunity from J.K. Dobbins. He's got to hold on to that one.
Definitely not the best pass in the world. Don't get me wrong. But that goes right through your hand, J.K. You cannot just let that drop.
That's an important catch. Little wheel route out of the backfield. No one really was manned up. Everyone stayed back. That was your quick check down to make it a manageable 4th and goal. But at this point, Tyler Huntley's got to basically throw something into the end zone from 10 yards out and kind of hope that the wind doesn't take it too, because the wind is rippling now. You see the flag starting to move a little bit. That's a little bit of momentum. 4 seconds left on the play clock. Tyler Huntley will take the snap. 4th and goal from the 10-yard line. Draws back and surveys. He'll throw it up to Mark Andrews, who almost made the absolute catch of the playoffs in triple coverage. That would have been a fantastic catch if he could have pulled that off. Wow.
Look, give credit where credit's due on that drive. Tyler Huntley stood in the face of pressure from every down and got them in a goal-to-go situation. And Mark Andrews, the most trusted target, he gave a chance to go up and get it. Yeah, it's triple coverage, but he was kind of in a gap. And unfortunately, it's just a little too tall. Trey Edmonds with some fantastic coverage. But that's how close it is, a fingertip.
I mean, Matt Milano, Trey Edmonds, Micah Hyde. For some reason, the Bills just seem to struggle when teams throw to the end, high to the end zone with 3 defenders in the area. The things just haven't gone well for them this season when they do that. But heck of a game by Teron Johnson. We're seeing him on the screen now. Bills will take over at the 10-yard line, and you have to imagine they're just going to kill clock at this point.
Yeah, 100%. If this isn't a bunch of runs, I'm disappointed in you guys.
I mean, 2 first downs in the game is probably all good as they will hand it off to Devin Singletary. Try to cut back upfield, but not a whole lot of space there. Gain of nothing. Tackle on the play. It looks like I can't see because they cut away, but it was a tackle by the Ravens defense, so it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 10-yard line.
That slip hurts because the Ravens do have two timeouts.
And the 2-minute warning. So there is a chance they can get the ball back if the Bills can't pick up any sort of first downs whatsoever.
This is going to be an interesting. I know they're cutting away from the game right now, so we can't really tell what's about to happen. But yeah, they're talking about the matchup going forward, whether it's who plays Green Bay basically, and then the result of this game and what happens with who goes where, depending on tomorrow. And yeah, look, this is a big play call right here, 2nd and 3rd down. You got to get a first down if you're the Bills. You have to get a first down and you ice this away.
2nd and 10, 2 minutes and 36 seconds left in the game, and the Baltimore Ravens did use one of their timeouts, so the clock is stopped. And TJ Yeldon has entered the game. The Bills are coming out in a strong I formation with a twin set of receivers at the top of the screen. Fullback goes in motion. Josh Allen will hand it off to TJ Yeldon, who will cut back inside and bash forward for about a gain of 3. We haven't seen too much of TJ Yeldon today. I wonder if the slip has something to do with it, or if they just kind of like the bigger body of TJ Yeldon to try and close this game out.
Yeah, I wonder that as well. But TJ Yeldon, very secure with the ball, very safe, never really had many fumble issues. His one thing is he doesn't have much explosion. So it's kind of why he's always been a backup. Great player by all means, just not a lot of explosion in his movement.
Very limited skill set. And it looks like the Ravens did call a timeout there as well too, so they will stop the clock again. So they're going to get the ball back most likely unless the Ravens somehow unless the Bills pull off a first down here. The question is, how do you run this offense? You have no timeouts. You got to scoot quickly because you're down 2 touchdowns. Like, what do you call honestly at this point?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not against their passing patterns they were running. The dink and dumps, but you got to go outside, and it looks like right here.
Looks like Judon. The Bills are saying, yep, Judon with neutral zone infraction. It'll be 5 more for the Bills, so that'll make it a 5, maybe a 3rd and 3. Campbell, not Judon. Much more manageable first down situation for the Bills too.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like 3rd and 2 actually.
Just keep getting closer. So at this point, it makes things a lot more doable. You can Josh Allen keep it, let arguably your biggest ball carrier keep it at this point if you want. You just let TJ Yeldon try and bang forward. They're bringing everybody in the box too, so maybe something cool. And they'll bring Dawson Knox in motion, handed TJ Yeldon off the backside.
Great tackle.
I don't think he got there. It's going to be awfully close, but it looks like he's just not even a full yard short too. Great play there by Calais Campbell, Pernell McPhee, and basically the whole Ravens flock as well in on that one too.
Looks like they're going for it again on 4th, or they might let this tick to the 2.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to let it tick to the 2, and they'll decide from there because at this point, I don't think you just try and get them to jump here really quickly, and a John Harbaugh team's not going to jump here, I'd imagine. Yeah, they're not going to jump here. So 2-minute warning.
Discipline.
Especially if you're Calais Campbell and you feel someone putting hands on your back, it's hard not to keep all that momentum from falling forward. I mean, that's a big boy if you push him forward.
Absolutely, and considering you just had an offside call, great job by the defense right there, stopping him short for a very, very big 4th down.
Exactly. And at this point, Tyler Huntley is going to get the ball back most likely. He's got to force the ball down the field and just hope for the best. If you're the Bills, once again, we said this kind of last drive, everybody stay back. Do not let Marquise Brown run by you again because that's exactly what would change the momentum of this game and give the Ravens a chance.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to keep him in front of you. If you don't keep him in front of you, well, things can happen.
Exactly. And
especially the Bills, and especially late, and especially throwing it up.
Exactly. Things have not been in their favorites this year on Hail Mary attempts, basically, if we just want to call it directly as it is. And if you're the Ravens, you already know there's only so much you could do. You might as well kind of say screw it and go for it at this point. There's not a whole lot else you can do. You can't methodically run your offense. You have no way to stop the clock besides spiking it.
Yeah, definitely. And it actually really depends with this fourth down. I don't think the Bills come out and actually go for it, because if they turn it over, they give them the ball with less than 40 yards to go.
They give them the ball basically the 30-yard line. I mean, they could just throw it in the end zone from there at that point.
Exactly. That takes the whole planning out for the first drive. Just at that point, it's get in the end zone, get open. So I do think they punt this away, but yeah, this is going to be a really big fourth down. I wouldn't be surprised to see if you see them send pressure, even if they decide to go for it. Obviously, they'll definitely send pressure. But if that punt comes out even a little bit wobbly, who knows?
Exactly. And at the same time, too, if the Ravens do get anything cheap and are able to score quickly, you got Justin Tucker kicking that onside kick. I mean, he has missed some field goals today, but that doesn't mean he's not going to come back with a vengeance on that onside kick and absolutely destroy somebody and get the ball loose. So if you're the Bills, you don't even risk it. You make Tyler Huntley if he's going to throw a touchdown with like 5 seconds left.
I don't know the stat off top of my head, but I feel like of all the kickers, he's one of the best at onside kick recoveries.
I know onside kicks are at like 8% this year, so it's not likely it's going to happen regardless. So
yeah,
and it's
look, if there's a man I want kicking the ball at any point in time for anything, give me Justin Tucker. I said it at the beginning of the show. Justin Tucker on the field, give me that option.
And we already knew Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, guys like that were going to make plays. One guy we didn't talk a lot about, but he does fit in that category, was John Brown. 8 catches for 62 yards, 11 targets. He's been that guy to just do enough to keep them off of Stephon Diggs so they can't double team him. So Stephon can have his traditional 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. His mandatory stat line he rolls out of bed with, basically.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a contract extension for him at this point in time. Like, he literally signs a contract and says, I will give you 100 yards and a touchdown.
If I don't, you don't have to pay me that week. And suddenly he gets it every time, so he's been paid real handsomely.
Yeah, exactly. And John Brown, I did talk about role players. He has definitely stepped up. I know not normally considered a role player, but today when you consider Stephon Diggs and how important it was, definitely a role player.
And the Ravens do almost get after it. They do make contact with the punter. We'll see if they throw the flag on that one. There is a flag out. Devin Duvernay will try to return. He's an explosive guy. He makes a couple guys miss, and he will be scampered out of the bounds after about a 10-yard gain. Question is, do they call this roughing the kicker or running into the kicker? Either one will spot him a first down, considering it was just inches to go. And that's the downside when you go for it. That's tough because you technically have to let him land, but we'll see how they call that one. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do there to stop your momentum. Slow motion, it looks a lot worse than it does full speed, and he gets a foot to the face. So, I mean.
Yeah, look, but Bjorquez did a fantastic job of jumping and moving towards the contact. I know as a kicker you don't want to take a long contact, but it's a very intelligent thing to go up and move towards the pressure because you encourage the contact and you encourage a very easy first down.
And yep, that will be the first down, and that will all but do at this point. 1:48 left in the game. No timeouts for the Ravens. Bills up 17-3. So at this point, we can all but assure the Bills, first time back in the hosting playoff games since 1995, I believe it was. And they've won 2 in a row. And they, depending on how the Browns-Chiefs games goes tomorrow, they might get 3 in a row. So Bills Mafia, they're ready to go. COVID year's not stopping them.
Yeah, this is a fantastic game by the Bills. I mean, we talked about how slow it was in the first half. You know, they're coming out and just basically throwing it up the whole game. And then coming out, getting 2 great run plays on a drive that led to their first touchdown. And then that defense, man. Taron Johnson, give yourself a trophy for today. You definitely were the player of the game defensively. I mean, without a doubt in my mind, his second half, without him, I don't know if Buffalo wins this game.
Well, yeah, it's tough to say either way. I mean, it's hard to just pull out a player out. But at the same time, Buffalo did only score 1 touchdown in this game. That's a testament to how good the Ravens defense has been today. I know they left the 3 points on the board. The Ravens left the 6 points on the board. Depending on who they play next week, I wonder if that's a concern for the Bills moving forward, or if they're just like, hey, neither the Chiefs nor the Browns have a defense quite like this one.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I mean, you look at it, and if they play the Browns, don't be surprised if you see the same defensive idea that you saw tonight against Baltimore. But if they play the Chiefs, that's a completely different offense, and you can't have as much freedom with your safeties. You have to be a lot more disciplined.
They got to both stay deep every time and make Patrick Mahomes beat you with 17 play drives, not 7-second drives.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a much different idea.
And with about 65 seconds left in the game, Josh Allen will take his second kneel of the game. So it looks like one more kneel down and we'll be getting out of here. So real quickly, we'll just recap this game. What's the couple biggest things that stood out to you besides obviously Lamar Jackson having to leave the game and that intentional grounding play at the end of the third quarter? Obviously, that's kind of the bit. That was when we knew the game was over, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. That was, obviously the exact moment. But to me, these kicks, man, to see Justin Tucker miss 2 in a game, unheard of. If you had told me before the game that was an option, I would have gone immediately to FanDuel to try to bet on this just to see the odds, because the odds have to be astronomical.
And plus a couple thousand, something like that. Like there's some good numbers out there.
Exactly. And then on the other side of things, Taron Johnson, I already said him. He's the other one, that big thing that stood out for me, just his performance in the second half. Without him, let's say Justin Tucker does hit those kicks, it is 10-9. And so that's a much different ball game than 17-3. That pick, whether he returned it or not, that pick alone would have turned this game around.
Exactly, and the ability to read your blocks and get all the way back too, because it wasn't like it was a smooth sailing pick in the flats with nobody there. He had to use some blocking out there. He had to use some of his guys flipping positions more or less. And at the same time, the offensive lines have been pretty solid for this game. There's been some hurries, a little bit of pressure here and there, but total of 6 sacks on the game, for 3 for Lamar 3 times, Josh Allen twice, Tyler Huntley once. I mean, wasn't exactly I don't want to say a sack fest, obviously, but it wasn't like a whole lot of tackling out there, too. A whole lot of sacks on the quarterbacks. They were able to avoid a lot of pressure, and the offensive lines held up really well against pretty good pass rushes.
Yeah, definitely. These quarterbacks, you don't ever expect them to really get sacked, let's be honest. With their momentum, their movement, everything about them is built to get out of the pocket. And we saw the lad a lot, but just for them to get 6 total sacks combined in this game, I think the defenses did what they needed to do when they needed to do it. You talk about, this team offensively for the Bills only put up 1 touchdown, had a field goal that they made and a field goal attempt that they made. So fantastic job by the Ravens. And then on the other side, the Bills doing everything you can to bend but not break.
Doing exactly what you need and doing what you do best, that you've done best all season. Get a takeaway that basically breaks the game open. So that'll do it for this game. Of course, tune in tomorrow on Colorcast, where you'll have myself, Kelcey, and our good friend Brendan. If you've heard some of our NFL podcasts, he'll be joining us for we'll do a live broadcast of the Saints and the Bucks tomorrow too, a fun little rubber match. Shout out to the Unhinged Sports Network. As you know by now, hopefully we are part of that as well. All of our sponsors, Dr. Squatch, Craft Beer Club, Fubo, Cut That Cord, and Fanatics. Best place to get your jersey and championship gear if you're an Alabama fan. Kelcey, any final words before we take off out of here?
I wasn't expecting an Alabama jab already.
They're the last team to win a